Looking back on the week that was and forward to the week ahead. It's the Fantasy Football Hustle. Here are your hosts, Brian Drake and Dwayne McFarland.
Hey, everybody. Welcome in. It's a special edition of the Fantasy Football Hustle. Brian Drake with Dwayne McFarland, presented by Pro Football Focus. Doing an FFPC Football Guys Players Championship draft tonight, August 29th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Dwayne and I have the 8th overall pick in this Football Guys Players Championship draft. The draft has started. McCaffrey and Kelsey are off the board. Dwayne and I are splitting this team. We're going to have some fun drafting tonight so you guys can follow along. Dwayne, why don't you lay it down to the folks a little of the specifics of the FFPC?
Yeah, I mean, immediately people are probably like, what? Kelsey, second pick overall. It's because it's tight end premium. So tight ends get 1.5 per reception. Everybody else gets a point. The starting roster is one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex, but they can both be tight end. They could be a tight end and a receiver. They could be a tight end and a running back. So it can be running back, wide receiver, tight end in your flex. That makes tight ends very valuable. Also makes winning the flex very valuable when you're trying to win both of those spots. And then you have 1 team defense and 1 kicker. It's a 20 round draft, so you're going to roster 20 players. We have the 8 hole here. It's very important. And if people have been reading my strategy stuff over at Pro Football Focus, I've talked about wanting to come away with an elite tight end in the first 2 picks. It's even more important in this format. And you want to be pretty aggressive, to be honest. So you've got Christian McCaffrey, Travis Kelsey, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara off the board, and then Saquon Barkley just went. So, yeah. So Barkley was a guy that I was actually hoping down here. Sometimes you can get him coming back around the turn. On Friday night, I took Waller at 10, came back with Saquon, and then came back with Kyle Pitts. And I was one of only 3 teams in this tournament, which has already drafted 7,000 teams. I was one of only 3 with that start. I saw a team do it again this weekend in another draft I was in. So there's 4 now, but they really sucked after that. So I felt a lot better about it. I was like going, thank God. Like, how this stuff goes. They'll win the whole thing, Drake. That team that I'm talking about. But as far as like the way I would have drafted a team, like I thought they really went off the rails. So,
this guy at pick 6 here is coming down to the nubs. He might time out. Oh,
yeah. So he took Derrick Henry, which is fine. Don't really want Derrick Henry this season, not at this spot. So we got 1 pick in front of us, Drake, and we're going to be staring at Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott, and Devonte Adams or Darren Waller. And if you see my scoring that's set up, you're looking at half PPR. It should be 1.5 PPR over on the tight ends. It's way higher. Todd's asking no YouTube, so I don't know if we're struggling with YouTube or something.
Should be good.
Yeah, so you might check on that. So right here in this spot, like it's really hard for me to pass Devonte Adams. And when I look at the 2, though, he and Darren Waller are very close, together. So we still have 1 more pick in front of us. So this guy's coming down to the wire too. So we've got a few good drafters in here. We're not the only ones. So like we have a green star by us. I've done really well in these in the past. I've finished in the top 5 multiple times. So yeah, Zeke is the auto pick. So really, like for me, Devonte Adams normally goes pick 6 or 7, and he's still sitting here. But I own Devonte Adams, so I'm willing, Drake, to go which way you would like. If you would rather own Devonte Adams, Tyreek Hill, or Darren Waller, I can go any one of those directions.
See, here's the problem, and we have 30 seconds,
and Kittle will come back typically. Just so you know.
Let's go Adams and see if Kittle comes back to us.
Okay. Now the thing is, once we do this, the other thing will be wanting a running back. It's really nice to have a running back and a tight end, but I do love Adams. He doesn't always make it here, so I'm good with this pick. You ready?
Let's do it. 7 seconds.
All right. So we're taking Devonte Adams. And just so folks wondering why I'm taking Devonte Adams, I would have taken Devonte Adams over Derrick Henry and Ezekiel Elliott. And the reason why is Ezekiel Elliott and Derrick Henry are both approaching 50. Well, Zeke's already over it when you count playoff touches, 1,500 carries on his career. Derrick Henry is right at that. If you look at some of the great research done over at Pro Football Focus this summer by Tej Seth, he actually does a great breakdown of where these backs really seem to hit a wall or hit a cliff. It could be one or the other. You're hoping it's just a wall and they can kind of slowly ride off into the sunset. But there's a case to be made that they could just totally fall apart. And so that's what you're trying to avoid in the first round. And Devonte Adams, if you think about it, has just as much of a ceiling and a nice floor, just like those running backs. The only argument you can make is that from a roster construction standpoint, it is tougher to get running backs, right, than it is to get receivers. So I can understand the argument either way. But if you want to look at anti-fragility, it's not that these receivers never get hurt, right? But we know they get hurt a little bit less than the running backs. I will say with Adams, he's not exactly, he's not old, but he's not young either. So Diggs and Tyreek Hill go immediately after us, Drake, which shows, just how drafters are trying to think this year. So, man, you would love it if you were pick 11. Mastradamus, this guy's got a green star by his name. I know him. He plays quite a bit. I knew he would take Darren Waller. There's no way he's passing Darren Waller with that pick, and he did take him.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I'm looking at Darren Waller, and, you're looking at 90 to 100 targets, 100 receptions, 100 and 40 targets plus. But, you're passing possibly the wide receiver one here, a guy who could score well over 300 points in that offense. There's not much else besides him. Yeah, let's take a shot on a guy who could be number one here, and we'll see who comes back to us. If George Kittle comes back to us, George Kittle could beat Darren Waller this year if he stays healthy.
Yes, he could. And Kittle will probably be there. Our question is going to be, do we want to pass on running back? So there goes Aaron Jones.
Damn.
Yeah. So, if like a guy like Eckler slid, which he probably won't, you would want to take him. There goes Calvin Ridley. So the turn picks were Aaron Jones and Calvin Ridley to bottle service.
That's a nice way to start. I like that for those two.
So I love Joe Mixon. Everybody knows if you read my rankings, that I love Joe Mixon. If you read my strategy articles, you know that I love Joe Mixon. So I would always make Joe Mixon an option coming back. Right now, at the top of our queue, I've got Kittle, I've got Eckler, and then I've got Joe Mixon. And there goes Najee Harris. So I was in a draft yesterday, Dre, where Najee Harris went at pick 6, and I actually got Alvin Kamara. That was kind of nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, so I drafted Najee Harris, though, in a draft today at pick 7 in round 2. So pick 6 in round 2, but I was drafting from the 7 hole earlier today.
This will be interesting because the guy's coming back here.
So Jonathan Taylor just went. If Austin Eckler makes it, it's an immediate pick. I doubt he does. This is too far. This person's probably going to pound it. So I never get my hopes up. But you never know. He could be set on a 0 RB strategy. So if Eckler's there.
To see with these guys, because we're doing the same thing as them. Receiver early. Let's see how they start.
If Eckler's there, you immediately take Eckler. If it's after that, again, because I draft a ton of these, this is draft 7 or 8 for me this weekend. So
now, why so much Eckler pounding the table over Mixon?
Well, because you never get Eckler at this spot, so we have to take him. Eckler does not fall here. Yes. So when you got guys that are close, and I've got them in the same tier, you don't get Eckler in the second round, pick 5. Todd Burrows is in the chat. He'll tell you don't get Eckler at this spot, so we got to take him.
So we took Eckler.
And if you guys listen to Nathan Yankee from Pro Football Focus, my coworker, Austin, he has got Nick Chubb went to pick before us. Nathan Yankee has a Chubb for Austin Eckler, major. And I respect Nathan's work. So, and I love Eckler anyway. Nelson Souza loves Austin Eckler. A lot of really great minds love Eckler. I've taken Eckler in the top 6 before just to make different rosters. We just got him in the second round, pick 5, Drake. You may be a horseshoe that I need to bring with me to every draft.
And hey, folks, remember, this is not a best ball. A lot of folks watching our drafts saw us do best balls. This is a real league you're going to play out. And the thing with these Football Guys Players Championships is you want to be slightly different than everybody else. There's a lot of these drafts going on, And if you can have a slightly different build, it's going to put you over the top when things start getting real tight at the end of the season.
Yeah, Travis Hull, he drafts a ton of these teams. What's up, Travis? See you out there. He just said he's in 40 football guys drafts. He's never seen Eckler fall this far. I've never seen Eckler fall this far, and I'm not in near as many so far as Travis. I'm going to try to catch up with you, Travis, though. I'm going to try to catch you. So Joe Mixon just went. Hopkins and Mixon went the picks after us. Is YouTube working now, Drake, or do we know?
I clicked on my phone and it was working, so it should be going.
Todd, tell us if it's working, because we want people to be able to see the board. Man, Kittle's just falling. So there goes.
It
Antonio
says 21
Gibson.
people are watching on YouTube right now.
Okay, cool. So Todd, figure out your technology, man.
Yep, YouTube's working. Some guys can see.
So there goes Kittle. I saw Kittle make it back to round 2, pick 12 earlier today, which I was kind of. I've not had the CMC lotto pick yet in an FFPC Football Guys Players Championship draft. I've had the 4-hole. I've had the 3-hole a couple times. So I've got Dalvin Cook and Kamara plenty.
So at this point, you've done a lot of these. The next logical, I guess, tight ends off the board, Pitts and Hockenson. Is there kind of a lull here, or you think they'll go in 3-4?
Yeah, so here's how I approach this. You asked a really good question. And so I've thought a lot about this in this specific format. Coming back, usually we're in a tough spot here, right? What will happen is most likely all of the receivers you and I love, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen, they will all go. They'll all go. Kittle's already gone. So typically coming back in this format, what I will do, Drake, I get aggressive because, and you tell me how you feel, I don't want to draft Chris Carson in the 3rd round. I just don't want to. I like him, but he's more of a 4th, 5th round pick. And I have some other plans. We'll talk about it running back here in just a bit. But I like loading up on the receivers in the middle. I'm a little different on the receivers I like. And I have a couple of receivers I love in round 7 and 8 that I'll be honest, I'm pretty heavy on this year. And if they hit, I'm going to destroy some shit. If they don't, I'm going to have to try to figure out, depending on what the year is and how I see everyone else drafting and crafting their strategy in a national tournament like this, my number one goal is always to win the league. But then number 2 is to figure out what is a differentiating strategy that I could approach, even if it means I've got to get heavily weighted on a few players from round 7 on. We'll talk about who they are in just a bit. But it gives me a little bit of flexibility in the way that I approach the strategy and what I can do in rounds 5, 6, and 7 with a running back. And sometimes I'll take a back that other people don't like just to give me an RB2 to create the flexibility I want for later. So I never feel like, oh my God, I have to do X. Oh my God, I have to do Y. Oh my God, I have to do Z. I never want to be in that situation. Sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes you're in a room with really sharp drafters. You both kind of get on the same wavelength with a plan, and it happens. But the way I've been approaching this 3rd round, so there goes A.J. Brown, there goes Keenan Allen. If McLaurin, Justin Jefferson went, if McLaurin or CeeDee Lamb come back, I will take them. Edwards-Helaire, obviously, already gone. If they do not, because I do not want to be without a tight end, especially with all the news. Like the guy I love the most, if I had to wait, was Irv Smith, right? Tyler Higbee kind of goes a little more than I like in this format. When he falls, I take Tyler Higbee. I got him in the 9th round Saturday night. But I don't like overpaying for Tyler Higbee. So my dream scenario here is CeeDee Lamb or Terry McLaurin fall to us, and Terry McLaurin just went. But once we get past those 2, Drake, I take TJ Hockenson or Kyle Pitts in this round. And here's why. Technically, if you look at the ADP, they're below everyone else on this board. But look, if you look at my board, you're looking at my board, you're looking how I have these guys scored. And you see half PPR, so you can't really see it. Just imagine that it said 1.5 PPR, and I had sent you the right sheet for tight ends, Drake, and that's my bad. I sent you the half PPR for tight end. They're really close. Hawkinson's right there with all the receivers that are going here, and it's a positional advantage in this league. And here's the thing. I take Pitts first because sometimes Kyle Hockenson slides back, and it gives you the option. If you want, you can take 2. And having 2 on your team in this particular format hurts the other owners. Oh God, I just said owners. Hurts the other rosterers. Whatever. Hurts the other fantasy football players, in the draft, because you really want to have a good tight end in this format. So when you have guys that you think could be elite tight ends, and I put Hawkinson and Pitts, and I'll even put Andrews in that club, I don't mind owning 2 in the first 4 rounds. And then I don't have to worry about it the rest of the draft either. And it comes a point where you'll notice in this format, people have to take tight ends you would normally be waiting on for around 11, 12, 13 in a normal PPR league. They have to take them in round 7, 8, 9. And guess what that does for you? Well, now you're sitting there going, I already have my tight ends. I can do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. I can take receivers. I can take running backs. So it just creates back end flexibility. Once you get past like round 6, man, you just see it. It's like the seas will part, a lot of these times for you. And I think it just gives you an advantage from how you can handle your roster construction past round 5. So Allen Robinson just went. You can name off some of these guys that went here.
Our friend Todd in the chat just made a good point with Dobbins thinning out the herd here. Patrick Mahomes goes here in the 3rd round. The 3rd round started out A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb that we were looking for, and then an auto pick of Allen Robinson. I don't know how in a $350 buy-in you're a fucking auto pick.
Yeah, well, when an auto pick happens,
we're up by
I know. We already took Kyle Pitts. What do you mean we're up? We're already done.
Patrick Mahomes.
I should confer. I conferred with you on 2 picks. So here's why I take Pitts. I technically have TJ Hawkinson graded ahead of Kyle Pitts, but not by a ton. Mm-hmm. And so they're close. So the reason I do this pick, Drake, is there's typically no chance Pitts comes back to you in the 4th. There's a chance Hawkinson does, and it gives you the option of doing the double tap at tight end, or as like a guy like Crack Rock, if you guys follow him, he calls it cranking purple. And I'll be honest, like sometimes in these drafts, when you start doing things like that, it freaks other owners out. I don't think we'll see that in this draft. There's a lot of pretty seasoned veterans in this particular draft room that are probably going to play it pretty chill. You never know. Sometimes somebody's on a bender or whatever and they flip out. But so see, Andrews goes right after us. So that doesn't help us right there. With Andrews going, Hawkinson likely doesn't make it back, but it shows you why I go with the tight end at the pick. And just so everybody knows, the player, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, CeeDee Lamb, all those were off the board. You were staring at receiver, you take Woods, Cooper, Evans, Lockett, Godwin, Cooper Kupp, or if you wanted to go with one of the young guys, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Ayuk. It's a tad early for those guys. You can get those guys in round 4 and 5. But when I look at Robert Woods, I look at Mike Evans, I like them, but I'm just as happy with Chris Godwin. I'm just as happy with Cooper Kupp coming back in round 4. I don't want to miss out on the tight end in this format.
You know what I like here is because people have got real money skins in the game.
Yeah,
here.
This is $350. This is not like a $12 league. So it's not a main event. It's not $1,900.
$350 but scratch.
Yeah, $350's yeah. I mean, it's more than the leagues most people play in, and not to talk down to the leagues people play in. Who cares? You're playing fantasy football for money. You're having fun. That's the whole point. But to to where you're going with it, yeah. I mean, this is not just your normal kind of league like this. And just so people understand the format, you play the first 12 weeks of the season. It used to be 11. Now this year it's a 12-week regular season. You play your playoffs in weeks 13 and 14. 4 teams make the playoffs. The point winner, the league record winner, and the winner of the playoffs all advance. Now, you could only have 2 from that. So do the math. The point winner, right, or the record winner could also win the league, which means now only 2 people from the league advance. But if it's not that way, like if the wild card basically wins the league, then 3 people from each league could advance into a playoff race, which starts on week 15 and goes through week 17. You start with your season average of points for your first score, and then it's a 3-week race where everybody's in one pool together of everybody that's made it through, right? So it's going to be more like DFS, where you have a lot of other people with the same rosters as you. But if you win that, it's $500,000 the first place. And there goes TJ Hawkinson. And this is why I take the strategy that I just took, is because I am fine missing on Robert Woods. I'm fine missing on Mike Evans or Amari Cooper, because I feel like I can replace them with other players that I like just as much coming back. But the tight ends, they dry up. And the other thing here, Drake, is I know you like Kyle Pitts. So I was fine going Pitts over Hawkinson.
Sure. I put out a tweet the other night about, again, it's a different offense, but how much 11 personnel the Falcons ran last year and the folks that were on the field during it. And it's they ran something like 680 snaps from 11, and you have Russell Gage on the field for mostly all of them. So in my mind, you're going to see Kyle Pitts playing the X in that offense now, and he's going to be out there for 500 snaps.
So here's what we're about to do.
Position.
I buy injury discounts when I think it's not going to be a season-long thing. Deandre Swift has been getting rest this whole preseason. Even if he doesn't play the first 2 games, if he slides past this pick, we take him. And here's why. And he took Miles Sanders. We could take Amari Cooper. We could take Mike Evans. We could take Tyler Lockett. These are all players that I like. But DeAndre Swift, like if all of a sudden tomorrow we hear he's playing week 1, he becomes a round 3, pick 5 pick. And so now we also have 2 backs. We have a tight end, and we have Devonte Adams. And that's a great start in this format. So are you good, Drake? Because he doesn't make it normally here. Normally, he's gone in the mid-third to the end of the third. Over the last 2 days, he's been going at round 4, pick 1.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Swift guy just because I don't love the offense. We had Mario Pilato on the SiriusXM show today. He seems to think it's not a big deal with the groin, and the coaches kind of just say he's out of shape. Between him and Chris
so that makes me feel better.
I like the differentiation. So I'll defer to you there.
So we'll take him, and if I need to pay you some money back, I'll just pay you some money back.
Well, what I like, I'm all about the differentiation because I've heard you talk about that enough where if you can get guys at a discount and it makes your roster that much different, it's a long season. You know, just because he's not ready to go today doesn't mean he's not going to be ready to go in November, December.
See Todd? Look at Todd down there screaming Swift. He knows. Yeah. And so here's the thing. I mean, when you get Swift, what you're buying is a profile of a back. He's a second-year back. He took over passing duties in his rookie year, one of the harder things for backs to do. This is an offense.
I got to talk to my kids on FaceTime before they go to bed.
So this is an offense that it's got to funnel basically through Hawkinson and Swift, right? So that's the other part that I love about Swift. Even if I've got to be without him for the first 2 weeks, I still like getting Swift in the 4th round. And again, if some sort of weird news breaks next week that Swift is actually going to play week 1, then you no longer get this discount. And the other way I think about it is this. I don't think we're going to get worse news on Swift. So I don't think his draft position falls from where it is today. I think basically the only scenario is that his draft position goes up. Now, surely as soon as I say that, we'll hear he's out for the first month tomorrow because you can never be sure about these things. Sometimes these things are more of an art than a science. But that's a logic for me behind the pick.
That's how you tuck the kids in while you're doing a podcast.
Boom. So we've got Chris Godwin went off the pick after, who I really like. Godwin looked great in the first drives with Brady. Like he ripped it. Godwin's a guy that's interesting to me, Drake. Last year we tried to top people off of him because they were taking him over DeAndre Hopkins at the end of the 2nd round. But now he's a guy that you can get in the middle 4th round. I got him at round 5, pick 3 on Friday night. I'm all about it. He's the youngest player of the Bucs receivers. He's still ascending. We know he's good. He's got a good quarterback. It's going to be an explosive offense. I think he's starting to get written off a little bit. And I love DJ Moore and some of these other guys too, but I really think you have to lump Godwin really in a similar tier with DJ Moore and with Deontay Johnson and the other players. I'm really excited about the possibility for Chris Godwin, who went the pick after us. And then Chase Edmonds goes the pick after that. So this is shaping out pretty nice. I took Chase Edmonds today, but not until the 6th. So I really like it when these players so for example, Mastradamus, who's actually a good player, but I don't like the build of Najee Harris, James Robinson, and Josh Jacobs with 3 picks right out of the gate. I don't see the upside with really any of the players besides Najee Harris and Darren Waller. There are doors to upside for Josh Jacobs if Kenyon Drake is hurt. I also think Josh Jacobs is a lot more of a firm, steady pick than what most people think because of the draft capital that's behind him. And he's a good player. But right there, those aren't the picks I want to make. Instead of James Robinson, I would have taken TJ Hawkinson if I were him. I would have had Waller, Najee, TJ Hawkinson, then come back. And if you just felt you wanted to go ahead and have your RB2 just to have it done and you take Jacobs or Robinson, I don't care. I mean, you can take your pick of it. Then I would be fine with that. But just off the cuff, I don't don't think that build sets you up. He could very easily still win the league, but out of the gate, I don't like that build.
Let me ask
all
you
things what we know today. As we know, week 1, everything changes, injuries happen. There's a lot of stuff that happens in a season. But for what we know today and what we're trying to expect and predict, which can never be 100% right, there's so many variables. I'm not a fan of that start.
Let me ask you about Team 6 here. And again, no disrespect to these guys. Who knows? They could
no.
win the league.
Well, we're going to lose to them. So
Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, and then Patrick Mahomes. So you take Patrick Mahomes in round 3. You don't have Kelsey and you don't have Hill. So is that too early to take?
Oh my God.
Mahomes?
Somebody just took J.K. Dobbins. So this is good. We're in a good draft,
really?
Drake. Some good shit's happening.
And it wasn't an auto pick.
And it was not an auto pick. So this person literally does not know what's happening.
It says Giants 9. Maybe he's just a hammered Giants fan.
I don't have, maybe. I don't have to even mark J.K. Dobbins off my list because he's gone.
Whoa.
So back to your question, though. I don't like taking Mahomes in the 3rd round, and here's why. I grade Josh Allen, Kyler Murray just right there with him, Lamar Jackson barely off from him, and I can get him 12 to 24 picks later. And I love Patrick Mahomes, but there's just not – I don't think it's a smart move, especially not in this format.
Let me see if I can move up
Darrell Henderson. This is really good, Drake. This is what we want. We just took Swift. And these guys are all taking the dead zone running backs for us, which pushes back what to you and me?
Bunch of good wide receivers.
Exactly. And that's what we want right now. We want the freaking Tyler Lockett is still on the freaking board. He will not make it to us. He's going to just tease you. It'll be just the tip. You're not getting him. Yeah, I've had Dwayne's 4 beers in. When I say my name in third person like that, that's when you know that like I've had 3 beers because that's stupid.
My 8.6%.
You guys should hold that against me forever.
Southern Tier Pumpkin. I'll catch up.
Go ahead. Deontay Johnson, gone. Yeah, catch up, Drake.
Let's see what I can do. I have no wife and no kids here tonight.
If Tyler Lockett makes it back to me, I'm splitting every team with you.
There you go. This is what I do. People think I'm just a pretty face who announces picks and tees you up for things, but behind the scenes. Just so people know, here's my cue. I've got Tyler Lockett, and this is in the order of my tiers: DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, and we'll stop there for right now because I don't want to like jinx anything. But guys on the rest of the queue: Jerry Judy, Jamar Chase, Chase Claypool is in the tier. I'm pretty much out on running back at this point. If for some reason coming back to us so look to the right of us, Drake. This is how you play this. Look to the right of us. You've got 3 owners with at least 2 backs already. Mm-hmm. And the wide receivers are going to be sitting there. So they're going to want them. Okay. So there goes Kareem Hunt. That's another pick in our favor. God. Kareem Hunt is a 6th to 7th round pick in this format. He's not a 5th round pick. Come on, Giants sign Travis Etienne. Pull the trigger.
He won't get ETN. So here's the thing. The queue still has J.K. Dobbins at the top because it hasn't been able to adjust for ADP yet. But Tyler Lockett's sitting at the top. So I doubt we get him. So don't get your thoughts on. I mean, don't get your thoughts. Don't get your hopes set on that.
All right. Appreciate everybody joining us here. Fantasy Football Hustle. Brian Drake, Dwayne McFarland, presented by PFF.
Dude, when you post this video, like if this keeps going this way, it's going to have to be you like dressed up like a leprechaun with like a 4-leaf clover. Kareem Hunt just went. That's crazy. Kyler Murray, this is good. Get your quarterbacks, guys. Come on. Get it.
All right. So there's 4 picks in front of us.
All right. There goes Tyler Lockett. That's okay. It's okay. We're good.
Yeah, it's like a DJ Moore, Deontay, Ayuk.
So drafting where we are, to the right of us, you got, like I said, 3 owners with 2 backs. One of those has 3. And then the 12 pick only has 1, but has 2 receivers and a tight end. So he's kind of in a good spot. He can do what he wants. But man, what I would love to see, and I'm not going to say it right now because I don't know. I doubt anyone is that's in this draft with us. But like, there's a player that I would really love to get in the 6th round that's associated with the words running back. I guess the words.
Is he the number 20 player on your board?
No,
he's not line 20. Okay.
I would be okay with that as well. I'm wanting to take a bigger swing though, Drake. And if you were following me, and I know you do, if you've been watching me on Twitter, I talked about this player yesterday, and there was a surprising development in his preseason game. So we are 2 picks away here, and I got DJ Moore, T. Higgins, and Brandon Ayuk all teed up. I also like Jerry Judy, Drake. I own all of these players. I own all of them a lot. And Mike Davis goes, a dead zone running back in front of us. So we are going to take DJ Moore. This is not a normal player that you get. I mean, sometimes he slides here. This is a nice spot. He normally goes so Logan Thomas in front of us, and then DJ Moore sitting here. So we're going to take him. Normally DJ Moore, and you can sort this by ADP. He's going pick 45. So we are getting him at what? 48 plus 7, 55. So DJ Moore, welcome to team. I'm renaming this team as well. Actually, I might want to mess with it right now. It's, are you just going to stand there and bleed? One of my favorite lines from Tombstone.
And again, DJ Moore, if you watched the game the other night, his nearly non-existent ADOT of, I believe, 2.4, it was completely different from what he did a year ago. And we know that Sam Darnold loves to throw the ball underneath. That's what he did with the Jets. That's why Crowder ate so much there. So if they're going to run those routes for DJ Moore, hoo-wee, he's going to rack up the catches.
Drake, I love this start. Devonte Adams, Austin Eckler, Kyle Pitts, DeAndre Swift, and DJ Moore. This is freaking this is a good draft.
Can we see how rare that is? Does Mojo have that?
I can see how rare that is. Aaron Rodgers off the board. This is a dream. We are actually in what I call a dream draft right now, Brian Drake.
We're both just hammered. That's all it is.
I'm only 4 beers in, but I'm going to go get another one around round 8 or 9. But I don't want to lose my focus right now. Like, I'm hyper focused, because when these opportunities come along, like, you just want to dunk. You want to dunk it. You don't want to clang this off the rim, because you don't get these opportunities. That's why you draft so many of them. It's like when you go play poker. Some days you sit down and you're like, shit, like there's 8 great other players. Things aren't going your way. And then if luck doesn't work out too, I leave the casino losing $300-400, but I come back the next week. I sit down at the right first 2 tables and you're up $2,000, in 3 hours. This is the same kind of thing. That's what's happening to us right now. I mean, Brandon Ayuk going at the end of the 5th round. That's a value. You just saw Jerry Judy go off the board. I love Jerry Judy, but I saw enough from Cortland Sutton to be like, okay, I'm just as fine with Cortland Sutton almost as I am Jerry Judy. The thing I love about Jerry Judy, not very many rookie receivers at the age of 22 or under has posted a 20% target share. And he is one of about 12, might be less than that. Wow. But if you saw the list, which includes, it doesn't matter. He earned them. He was good enough to get them. It doesn't really matter. So if you look at it, that list includes AJ Green, Mike Evans. I mean, you talk about like some of the elites. Now you had some busts. You had Sammy Watkins, who kind of got going, but Amari Cooper's on that list. I mean, there's a lot of really good players on that list. So I really do like Judy. He had been a discount. He had been a 7th round pick until about a month ago. He started creeping up, and now he's a 5th round pick. And it's about where he should go. He should be going with Ayuk. He should be going with Jamar Chase, all these guys. So the name I wanted, and this was the player I was worried about the most, that I think so far is proving to be, and this is, again, nothing against these other players. I think so far the 12 hole is the other sharpest drafter in the room, with Aaron Jones, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, getting TJ Hawkinson, Jamar Chase, and now saying big time swing with Javonte Williams, who was rested in the final game of the preseason, while Melvin Gordon and Royce Freeman had to run out there and play. Now, part of it, they had seen enough from Williams, and Gordon hadn't been able to play, but still, that's not normal rookie treatment. So I moved Javonte Williams up my board by about 6 spots. And so if you have my PFF rankings, those were updated this morning. Based off of that news, I moved him up. So we lost Drake here, so I'm going to keep walking you guys through this. So Myles Gaskin just went. I was like, Drake, man, I've never had you drop like I've dropped before.
Hold on. We'll get the draft board back up.
It's all right. You're good. So Myles Gaskin just went off of the board. Yeah, like I said, Javonte Williams went. So what we're looking at here, we got two picks in front of us, man. I would love to get T. Higgins or Chase Claypool. There goes Julio Jones. I would have loved Julio Jones too. I mean, dear God, like at this round.
Looking at running backs, you have no interest with Gus Edwards here?
No, not with T. Higgins and Chase Claypool on the board. No, none, zero, like less than zero interest. It's negative.
I love the hashtag Drake never drops right here. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, guys.
You don't ever drop. That's the first time you've ever dropped ever.
I think I hit the wrong button. I'm refreshing the Excel file that we're going off, and I probably hit the wrong button. But we'll blame it on a power surge.
And Juju Smith-Schuster goes in front of us. Thank you. What's that team name? Double Cross. We are getting T. Higgins in round 6. Bitches. All right.
Now, why T. Higgins?
I don't mean that. I don't mean that. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. That's not meant towards females. That's just me towards our league mates. So we have Devonte Adams, Austin Eckler, Kyle Pitts, DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, T. Higgins. So Drake, what you have done for me in this draft, for us, it's a teamwork. You've gotten Austin Eckler to slide further than I've ever seen. DeAndre Swift as far as I have seen. DJ Moore as far as I have seen. And now T. Higgins as far as I have seen in all the drafts I've done.
Team Astro Glide. Slide right in.
Yeah. Team Drake. This is just going to be Team Drake.
Well, we'll see. We got the Manscaped sponsorship coming to the Hustle podcast, and the Astro Glide will be next. That's all we need.
Dude, this is a great draft, Drake.
People love
it. I would, if we were live, I would kiss you, like on the lips, like right now.
11 beers deep. Wait till the Fantasy Football Expo next year.
The Drake and McFarland kissing booth. Yes. Okay, so there goes Tyler Higbee. So see what I mean? Tyler Higbee, I love, but I don't want to take Tyler Higbee in round 6. And this is why I like having the tight end already done with. And not that we don't want another one, because we do. But I don't want Tyler Higbee. And so this gentleman's build is Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Patrick Mahomes, Chase Edmonds, Mike Davis, Tyler Higbee. He clearly does not listen to Ship Chasing or Patrick Crane or any of the new or Ben Gretsch, any of the new schoolers. He would be labeled as the donkey drafter in one of their drafts. I don't 100% follow like their strategies. They're really smart guys, and I do use their strategies some, but I'm flexible. Based on the draft, but they would definitely be railing on cute puppies. Cute puppies. That's a really sweet name, but not a very good fantasy football team name, I must add.
I'm gonna tweet out the board again.
It is PPR. We've had an ask. It is PPR, and it's tight end premium, so 1.5 points for tight end receptions. That's why you guys are seeing the tight ends go off the board. So dream scenario, Drake coming back, just had an auto pick of Dak Prescott. That doesn't help. I was actually going to say dream scenario coming back would be like if you managed to get Lamar Jackson to follow us. Like I would try a backflip, but I wouldn't be successful in doing so. So there goes Sermon. Trey Sermon, I love.
Hey, Mostert looked good, and
dude, I've had to take Trey Sermon in round 6. Mostert did look good. It's still going to be a timeshare either way. I would still put my money on Trey Sermon over the course of the season. So there goes Claypool. Easy picks down there in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Claypool, that's pretty far. That's pretty far for Chase Claypool to fall. Like I'm looking at. Oh, yeah. I need to be looking at. Drake, you wanted me to look at. the rarity. So this is, if you guys don't use this and you draft in this league, then you're missing out. It's through Fantasy Mojo. So fantasymojo.com, and you can go to Stacks Builder, and you can look at combinations of different players that are owned. So I'll just start with our first three players of Devonte Adams, Austin Eckler. So we got 2 first-round picks, basically, because usually both of those go in the first round, unless you were drafting a month ago, whenever you could get your Packers in round 2. I've got Eckler, and I've got Devonte Adams, and I'll start with that. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17 combos of starting that way. And it's because of the old price that you used to be able to pay. There goes Lamar Jackson. That's in Lamar Jackson, round 7, and he got Gus Edwards. That's 2 solid turn picks for the gentleman or the person drafting from the one hole. But then if we add on Kyle Pitts to our start, Drake, you hear me okay? Just making sure.
I got you. Yeah, I'm just putting up some of the comments. We got so many of our buddies in the
all right, so if we take that and we now add Kyle Pitts, Drake, we are one of 3 teams that owns the start of Devonte Adams, Austin Eckler, and Kyle Pitts.
All right.
And then if you add Deandre Swift, we are the only team to have that start of 4 players.
Hooray, fantasy football.
Yeah, and you don't want to overweight these things. Like, you want to just draft the best teams. But, man, when it works out or it's a tiebreaker, like having a tool like this, I kind of know just because I'm doing so many. So it's like I'm pretty much know, like, wow, this is probably rare. So I don't, like, have to, like, look at the tool, like, all the time. But I will keep it open. So I
now,
just
guys are asking about our quarterback situation. Aaron Rodgers was already taken. So we can't do the stack there. I doubt we're going to take, I mean, the message way later. We're not going to take Sam Darnold. Joe Burrow wouldn't be for a while.
It's okay. I don't worry so much about stacking. I like stacking, but I think folks that tell you have to stack, they're just wrong. Mm-hmm. I think getting to stack is great. I've made it into the final 5 of this tournament multiple times in my life. I've had stacks on them. I've not had stacks on them. So I've had years where I've just destroyed people just through, my flex spots and didn't have any kind of, stack. So there's different ways to win. If we can make a stack later, Joe Burrow is definitely in play. Michael Thomas has been creeping up a little bit here lately. So people seem to be getting on that. I'm just kind of not so big on it. So I don't have anything over in our queue yet, but the next player on my board, Drake, if he makes it, would be Cortland Sutton. I don't like the tight ends here.
Over Mostert?
I do. Because Mostert's a guy that's going to be stuck in a committee and likely get phased out. Cortland Sutton's going to be a top wide receiver all year. So there goes Tyler Boyd. So what we're doing here is we're saying, look, we got our 2 backs. There goes Tonyan again. So you see what happens with these tight ends. You do not want to be taking Robert Tonyan in round 7. It's not a good strategy. Touchdown regression is definitely coming for him. So Cortland Sutton, the beauty is what we're doing here is we now have our 2 flex spots filled with receiver. So our receivers are Devonte Adams, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton. And we've got Eckler, Swift at running back, and we've got our tight end, Kyle Pitts. And so people are asking about quarterback, and the answer is we're just going to wait. Mm-hmm. We're not going to take one in round 8. We're not going to take one in round 9. We may take one in round 10. We may take one in round 11. Because the quarterbacks that we love make it that far. Now, Russell Wilson's on the board. So if he came back in the 8th, that would be unusual. He normally goes in the 7th round. So he's got an ADP of 77.1. So what are we at now, Drake? 72 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we're pick 7. So we're pick 79. So we're 2 picks past Russ's ADP. And see, I love the pick we made because now DJ Chark goes. which I get DJ Chark usually in round 9 or 10, not round 7.
I'd love, and I doubt it's going to go this way. Maybe. There's still a stack possibility. And again, don't call me an Eagles homer, folks, but I just think it's going to be very productive. Is Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts.
Well, I'm glad you said it because I would love to take Devonta Smith or Corey Davis or Marquez Callaway with the next pick.
Mm-hmm.
So there goes Russell Wilson. And that's the cool thing about like Wilson sliding there. It's just too hard for people to pass. And what could happen since Lamar went and he went and Dak went, you could get, and Aaron Rodgers already being gone, you could get one of these owners at the end. I doubt it from pick 11, knowing how he drafts. I doubt he feels pressured at all to take a quarterback yet, but we'll see. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, if we make it back through and say we can get, and let's assume Hurts doesn't go yet, and it comes back to us and we take Devonta Smith.
I would love to get Devonta Smith and pick 8.
Only one other team needs a quarterback at that point.
Yeah. Yep. Same page with you, man. The other guy you could talk me into if you want, and he just went. I don't ever get to own him, but it's Shenault. I just don't.
He did look good today.
He's getting a lot of targets, but we haven't seen them all out there together. We haven't seen it with Chark and Marvin Jones. My problem with Shenault is this. When I watch him, he just is not as explosive as what I thought he was. He's rugged. He's physical. But I don't see him making a lot of big plays.
Everything is like right around the line of scrimmage. He's Debo Samuel.
But even though that, he's like Debo is actually better run after catch than Shenault. Like I don't particularly think it's close, to be honest. Like when I watch the two players, like Debo Samuel's another player I actually love, like right here. Debo Samuel, Devonta Smith. So I like Corey Davis, and I've moved him above those guys. Like even though I haven't fixed my rank yet. I fixed it over on PFF, but I haven't fixed it on this sheet yet because it's kind of a pain in the ass, like because I have so many changes I'm making. So I just kind of know it in my head. But the thing with Davis is like he really could lead the whole team in targets, and he could get we could see him truly be, a guy that he has a shot at 150 targets. I'm not saying he's going to get it, but the door's open. I think Devonta Smith has that door open too. So those are the two players I like the most. And there goes Corey Davis. So that's a very good pick by Mastradamus.
We had a guy on the Sirius show yesterday as a Jets reporter, and he was telling us straight up, he goes, Ty Johnson's starting running back on this football team.
Yeah, but what does starting running back mean? It means the guy that plays the first series and then's out. And I don't even think I believe that. Ty Johnson had to stay in and play. Tevin Coleman was rested. Ty Johnson had to play, I think, I'd have to go back and look at Pro Football Focus Ultimate. I think he actually kept playing after they pulled Michael Carter out of the game. So I don't know that I believe that.
I don't know. Yeah, just want that. Seen it a few places. Just file it away for later in the draft.
Hey, typically beat writers are closer on the stuff than I would be. That's a weird, and we get smoke signals. Okay, so here we are, Drake. We get to draft Devonta Smith. How excited are you? Ready? Because DJ Chark, the guy just took DJ Chark here at the pick before. I'm betting he lets Devonta slide. If he doesn't, my thought process here is to go ahead and grab Sony Michel. And here's why. I like Michel, like he's at the top of the remaining tier. I think he immediately gives you value. And I think there goes Michael Carter. So we're going to take Devonta because he doesn't make it here. So you good?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Sony could come back. Sony has a really wide range of where he goes. I've gotten him in round 11. I've seen him go in round 6.
I mean, these are players. We're in round 8, and these are players who, with Corey Davis and Devonta Smith going in this round, could have 25% plus target shares for their team.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So good picks all around.
Yeah, we're destroying this draft. These don't always work out this way, Drake. And it's funny.
Every draft I've ever done has worked out like this for me, Dwayne. I don't know why. Maybe it's the first football guys draft I've been in, but they all seem to go this way.
Well, I'm just going to bring you to every draft for sure. What's interesting is you're not always in the position to take advantage of it. You've been in those drafts where you're like, oh my God, look at this value falling, and you're on the opposite end of the board.
Yeah.
Today, there's guys I'm sure sitting down on the other end going, oh my God, how do these guys keep getting these plays? Because I've been that. I've been there sitting there wondering, like, how does this other person keep having this value fall in their lap? It doesn't, so when it goes your way, man, you got to hammer it home and you got to stay on your toes. Like, you just got to keep pounding it. You can't let up. You can't get relaxed in it. You want to be relaxed, but you can't get negligent because these just don't happen all the time. So when they do, you just really, really, really want to make sure you're not making any big mental errors.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Sony Michel isn't as high on some of these other folks' boards. Maybe they're out there. There's, Zach Moss, James Conner.
Yeah, the way I look at him, he's A.J. Dillon or Tony Pollard, but already has a role. Mm-hmm. And A.J. Dillon just went. There goes Michael Gallup. See the Prescott.
Would you rather have Michael Gallup or Devonta Smith? Give me a break.
Oh, it's not even close. Michael Gallup's not going to be on the field for 12 or 21 personnel. He's going to struggle to hit 70% of the routes this season. He's right priced. He's in a good offense as the third guy, but he's for sure the third guy now. There's no chance. Before there was the chance that, well, what if we're wrong? What if Gallup's the 2? No, he's not. He's not the 2. He's the 3. So there goes Mike Williams.
Sheldon in our chat wanted to know about, we teased earlier some round 8 and 9 guys. Are they still on the board?
Yeah, so the guys that I'm taking all the time in round 7 and 8, one of them I'm not going to name because they are still on the board, but the other one was Corey Davis. I'm getting Corey Davis a lot. And here's the way I look at it. I don't draft 100 teams. I draft 20 of these, 30 of these at the most. And I split a lot of them with different people, different guys that want to invest and do this with me. So I like to be diversified. I'm very diversified over my early picks, but historically where I've done really well is when I could really settle in on a handful of about 10 to 12 players that I really ramp my exposure up, say 30 to 50% rounds 8 through 12. And this year I feel really great about my list. Every year I feel different. And what's funny is I wasn't feeling great about my list until about the last week and a half, and it's really honed in. So this is good for us, Drake. They're all having to take the tight ends. So the other name I love just went off the board, Marquez Callaway. Normally he is, if I need a receiver, he's my 8th round pick. Callaway and Davis are why I don't feel like I have to go wide receiver heavy if I don't want to early. Meaning if the value falls to me the right way where I could double tap running back and tight end and then come back and I could peel off and even be aggressive about it if I wanted. Corey Davis, Marquez Callaway, plus whoever I got in my 5th round. Man, I feel great about it. And I think it's a way to differentiate against, honestly, a lot of people that are building the same rosters over and over with these whenever they go super heavy at receiver. And those receiver rosters, they're really great because of all the things like that Sean Siegel and other guys talk about, super smart people. There is the antifragility, and those guys are tremendous players. But I'm always looking for ways that how can I be different than that strategy if I want to? And a lot of it does come back to whether people want to like it or not. I do identify 10 to 12 players that I get a lot of. And in my years where I've destroyed these leagues, I hit on those. I do have years where those players get hurt or I don't do as well. And my strategy, now I mix it up all the time. So I'm still sometimes using zero RBs. Sometimes I'm using robust RB, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. But typically my teams that skyrocket into the top 5 of these are the ones, and it's the season where I hit on those players. And man, it's like Drake, I'll look at the top 200 teams out of, this has 12,000 or whatever it is in it. Like I'll have 7 or 8 teams in the top 200. And it's because of those players. It's because I am on the players that are going to be 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks next year. And it doesn't always work. A lot of weird stuff can happen. So that's why I don't do it every draft. I go in open to what's my strategy going to be? Well, I'm going to start to really understand that as the draft unfolds. And I'm watching all these other teams. So for example, in this league, you can see the 4 pick was on an anchor RB strategy. So you got that. There's only one though. There's not a bunch of people doing the same thing. There's a lot of yellow, but the receivers fell this draft. And so it was a great draft for the way it worked for us to already have Eckler and Swift, because we got to get DJ Moore at a near round discount. You got to get T. Higgins at a round discount. Got to get a slight discount on Cortland Sutton and nearly a round discount on Devonta Smith. And had we just said, no, we're going yellow, we got to go yellow, we would have never been able to build the team that we had by forcing it. You have to let it unfold. And sometimes cranking off the receivers is the right move. And it is a lot of the times. Technically speaking, you just saw me do it in this draft. I didn't want running backs in the dead zone, but because they took the dead zone running backs earlier, we just kept getting more receivers of value. And the fact that we already had our backs made things a lot easier.
Let me see. So Justin Herbert just went off the board with an auto pick. We're here in
Zach Moss went with an auto pick. Guys, don't draft Zach Moss. It's a mess right now.
Yeah. We're team 8, so there's a very good opportunity that Jalen Hurts could fall to us here.
Yeah, we're not taking him though, because he falls. He goes in round 11.
You don't think?
And Tom Brady, Tom Brady, and Jalen Hurts are both on the board. Trust me.
Okay. What you were saying earlier about different builds and people going super running or receiver heavy. I sent you a draft board. I was on a podcast and did a draft with a bunch of industry guys, and I started out. I had Kamara at the 1-3. Miraculously, Gibson fell back to me. And then I took Kittle in the 3rd. So I went 3 rounds without a receiver. But then I would dare say Lockett, Thielen, Judy, Beckham, Callaway, and Devontae Parker. I'll match those guys up any week. And by the way, I've got Kamara, Gibson, and Kittle. I'm going to smoke your ass, when you're starting, Mike Gesicki as your tight end.
Yeah, exactly. There's multiple ways, to your point, to build the rosters. No, we're going to be patient on quarterback trade. You've read my quarterback strategy.
I've done a podcast with you for 4 years, my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying. I don't know if Hurts makes it back to us here. We'll make a friendly.
Even if he doesn't, I'm okay. I'm not going to panic. They're leaving too much value at these other positions. We can't pass it.
So we're coming up here in 2 picks. Best running backs on your board here. We're looking Michelle, Connor, Jamal Williams, Kenyon Drake, still Kenny Galladay, Robbie. We're not going to go Robbie Anderson probably.
No, Robbie Anderson went. Sorry. You got to refresh. I marked him off late. When I got to talking, I missed, and Kenny Galladay's gone. I missed some that we're paused right now. So this guy says he wants Elijah Moore. Who was that? Who was the pick? Trey and doubled. Justin Herbert will come back into the pool. And that'll take Elijah Moore off the board. So I'll tell you right here, man, it is tough. I will take Sony Michel, but man, I do not like passing Jalen Waddle freaking ever in the 9th round. Like ever.
So you can do that in these drafts. You can call out an audible and go, "Hey, I didn't want this guy. Time me out."
It has to be an error. It cannot be user error. If they think it's user error, technically they are not supposed to let them change their pick. So, for example, if they said, "Oh, I accidentally clicked on the wrong guy," that's too bad. But if it is, "Hey, my computer froze up, blah blah blah, it gave me this player, not that player." So, just so you know, if you're in one of these and you jack up, never ever say that you clicked on the wrong player. Don't say that.
Nope. Pornhub froze me up and I couldn't pick the guy I wanted. That's a reasonable excuse. We can go with that. We've all been there.
So we're likely getting one of Waddle or Sony Michel here. I feel pretty good about it. If that were to dry up in front of us, we could take a James Conner. If we wanted to really say, "Hey, if this happens, you're all effed," we could take Tony Pollard because Zeke is at that 1,500 carry limit. Am I Okay, yeah, I was fixed to say, I'm behind on this stupid board. I was like, Noah Fant's gone. I was like, he's not there. So I'm just looking at the board. Sitting at the top of the queue, though, is Waddle's sitting right up there. And you're looking at the queue, too. Mm-hmm. Sony Michel's not in view yet. So basically, someone's actually got to know what the hell they're doing. They have to, like, have him typed in and put on their list.
The teams after, and it's nice of we got a really smart group in the chat saying how every team after you has 3 running backs, so Michel could fall back to us. I mean, who knows? It's a possibility. I'm hoping in round 10 that Jalen Hurts comes back to us.
Yeah, it's tricky, right? It's one of those deals where they're right. Like, that's what I'm constantly looking at. You could easily talk me into it. So here's the thing. Wide receivers that have gone in the top 6 picks since 2011, only one of them hasn't had a top 36 season. And it was Corey Davis. Every other one has at least finished 36 or better. And there's just a lot of upside with Jalen Waddle. I mean, Devontae Parker, let's look. He's just a perpetual tease. I have no clue what's going on. Like, how many people are backing up their picks here?
Drafts are, I don't know. I'm getting a new beer.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, while the draft is paused. It's a beer break for everyone on the show.
All right, get you a beer. Yeah, so to you guys that are saying there are a lot of green behind us, and it really is a good point. And reading the board, I don't know. What do you guys say in the chat? You want us to let it hang and go Jalen Waddle, or do you want us to do the right thing roster construction wise and go ahead and grab Sony Michel? We do have a potential issue with Deandre Swift missing time in the early season. And so the only thing about Tony Pollard is I don't feel good about starting him, meaning we would then have to come back and probably force a pick like a James Conner or a Naheem Hines, something along those.
Everybody in here wants us to take Waddle. I mean, there's still I hate Ronald Jones with a passion.
Waddle's on the board. Well, we're not drafting Ronald Jones. You don't have to worry about that.
Just saying the guys who are out there: Kenyon Drake, Gio Bernard.
Stop yelling at me, Dwayne. Just the guys that are out there.
Hey, we're back. It's like that radio skit on SNL.
All right, so Will Fuller, Elijah Moore. Just make sure I got the right guys off here. Darnell Mooney gone. We're 2 picks away.
This helped us even more.
Jonnu Smith goes, and then we are up. So we're getting one of the 2. And Justin Herbert goes, and we're going to take Jalen Waddle. We're going to go with the chat room.
Don't ever say we're not men of the people.
Yeah, and don't expect a paycheck if we win this thing.
Yeah, we get paid.
I'm just saying if we win the $500K, we're not splitting it with the chat room as much as we love them. Well, maybe we'll do something special. You guys will have to let us know like who's been in this chat room.
We'll give away some hustle T-shirts.
Hey, here's the deal, Drake. Look at us. So what have we said?
Hats.
We've said that we are flexing receiver. We now have 6 of them, and they're good. Adams, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. This is nuts. Henry Ruggs goes after us. Like, give me a break. Henry Ruggs is an 11th or 12th round pick. Yes. Man, we may have just put pressure on him. We'll see. Let's see if they stay on the receivers. I'm worried about this 12-hole guy. He seems to know what he's doing. He could really get us with Sony Michel. I could be okay coming back with Pollard, swinging big. Sony Michel, gone. Knew it. Just too close.
Somebody in the chat wanted to know why we didn't take Curtis Samuel when we have him ranked higher.
Well, it's just for me with Samuel not knowing what's going on with the injury, and I did some research on Waddle, more this weekend. I have them right there by each other. So it just, when it comes down to something like that, I lean to the health. So there goes Brady. We had Justin Herbert go. All right, so this is where it gets tough, Drake. So looking behind us, though, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of 6 teams have a quarterback. We need a running back. I like the Waddle pick. I I would feel more comfortable with Sony Michel on the team, but we're pretty good at receiver at this point. We don't have to do a lot more. And now they're going to keep pounding these runners. There goes Jamal Williams. I'll be honest, like the player I want coming back is Tony Pollard. And then I just want to grab like a Band-Aid kind of player, Naheem Hines, James White, Gio Bernard, Kenyon Drake even, something along the lines like that later. And we're really wanting Jalen Hurts to come back to us in the 11th. I've got him in the 11th and the 12th rounds multiple times. If he goes, we can pivot to Trey Lance. We can pivot to the young players if we want. There's still plenty of quarterbacks left. So Matthew Stafford's there. Tannehill's there. Joe Burrow's there. We have T. Higgins. Tua is there.
Justin
we
Fields.
have Waddle. So there goes Connor. See, I knew we were right on the verge of these runners going. And the chat room was right, like looking at all the green behind us. There's a chance Waddle would have came back. Look at that. Ramondre Stevenson.
Well, we don't
in the 10th round. That's a reach. Yeah, I'm just telling you, Waddle would have probably came back. But there's no guarantee of that. But Ramondre Stevenson, that's a reach. Even if the guy gets on the field, he's going to be sharing time. It's a committee, period. If Damian Harris goes down, Ramondre Stevenson may not even give you all of what Damian Harris is doing. And I like the player. I'm not reaching for Ramondre Stevenson in round 10.
Well, they've got J.J. Taylor and
so there goes Gerald Everett.
these other guys.
So the pick is Pollard if he makes it. If Pollard's gone, we could go ahead and take Hurts.
You don't like James Conner, Jamal Williams here?
Well, they're gone. They went at the turn.
Look at your sheet, man. You got to update your shit.
It's updated. You got to refresh.
Refreshing.
I've marked those off.
My Mac LC2 here from 1994 only goes so fast.
Now you are on the clock.
All right, boom. We're taking Pollard. Done deal.
Now, why him over, for the chat room, its sake, over a Kenyon Drake, over Ronald Jones?
I like Kenyon Drake. Pollard is just one of the players. He's one of the few players that if the starting running back in front of him goes down, it's a league winner. It really is. If DeAndre Swift and Eckler are both healthy and we're putting Tony Pollard in one of our flex spots, and then we're starting 3 of these badass receivers, like we're going to be a shit ton to handle. Like most of these teams aren't going to be able to deal with it. Now, health and all that kind of shit's going to come into play. I'm just saying out of the gate, like the team is really strong. So I swing for upside in these picks here. And I like to draft 2 to 3 in a 20 team league. I like to draft 2 to 3 out of Pollard, Chuba Hubbard, Darrington Evans, Tony Jones. A.J. Dillon I never get because he goes in the 8th round and he's overpriced. People think he's going to give them flex value, and maybe he does occasionally, but I'm going to be honest, you're probably not going to be happy flexing A.J. Dillon, which means he's overpriced versus Tony Pollard.
Irv Smith just went to Cute Puppies, who were doing really well, as their 3rd tight end.
Yeah, Irv Smith's normally an 8th round pick, and so he's out likely the first month. It's not a bad pick.
Yeah, but he also, I was talking to the PFF's injury analyst today. And I mean, there's ways that they said he could be out for the whole year.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. I've been in the PFF chats all day. I didn't see that, but everything I've read on him was most likely back by October. But it's still early. Who knows what that's going to mean? So there goes Kenyon Drake.
All right, so here's the team. They've got a chance at taking a quarterback from us. But again, it doesn't really matter. There's tons of great quarterbacks left.
Exactly.
I mean, geez, you look down the board at even the Jameses of the world and Zach Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Baker, Tua, Fields. I think Fields gets on the field before Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance, they're going to use him in sort of a Wentz, Jalen Hurts two-man tango from last year. By the way, if you haven't seen Ian Harditz's fantastic tweet about
That was the best. That was so good.
and Jimmy G, go check it out.
Man, those
I love
aggressive...
that. Anytime someone uses that GIF or meme, whatever.
Yeah, it's the best. Great. Yeah, it is the best. And it's such aggressive, like flipping the bird, like nearly like right, like almost touching the face.
It's like,
my favorite's when they both go walk off down the street and it's like just giving the quick ones back and forth, like they won't stop. Ronald Jones.
So Team 4 actually timed out with Rondell Moore.
Yeah, they made a good pick. Now they probably had their queue updated.
How does someone fucking time out in a $350 buy-in managed league? This isn't a best ball. Time. What happens?
Happens all the time. Oh Who knows? Could be internet connection. I mean, all sorts of weird shit. You know, Drake. Weird stuff happens.
From the guy that just got kicked out of the chat. All right. A question. At what cost would you rather have Mostert or Sermon? Do you think taking both is a good idea?
I don't like taking both. Because of the price, you basically have to turn it at 6 and 7. And I don't like to spend 2 back-to-back picks. You could make an argument that it is the 49ers running game, but the problem is if they're both healthy, they could just, you may never know which one to use each week. And you're probably not going to want to start both of them. So I like just making a bet on one of them. And it just depends on what's there. If you really like what's there in round 6, where Mostert usually goes, the opportunity cost is higher to own Mostert. I mean, not Mostert, Sermon versus Mostert. So if you want to wait because you like the receivers in round 6, then I'm fine. My guess is like the guy that has the chance to take the backfield over by the end of the year and like just run with it is Mostert. Sermon, not Mostert. And I like Mostert. So, I mean, I think it could be a situation where it's a committee all year long. But if I had to put a chip, it would be on Sermon. Just Mostert's an older player, very explosive, but I could see them easily using Mostert in the passing game and giving more and more of the first and second down work to Sermon. Leonard Fournette, that's good. So Drake, you notice on these things, I have some players that are just already have a strike through their name, and that Leonard Fournette is one of those as another auto pick. Maybe and Michael Pittman is the next auto pick.
I do like Michael Pittman this year.
Rob Fisher said they have Dwayne's internet. This is so true. Hey, as bad as my internet is, I never get kicked off of these things. As grainy as my face may get on video, I'm working on it, guys. Like they're bringing better fiber out here. So hopefully, knock on wood, like it'll be in the next 6 months. They're working this way. Jacoby Myers, not a bad pick.
Oh, I don't know.
You notice Jarvis Landry is another name that I just already had pre-marked off. I just don't take him. Not that I hate him. You could do it. I just don't see the point in owning Jarvis Landry. Don't get it. And that's team 2. So right now in our queue, I've got the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I've got
Evan Ingram. I love this
Evan
guy.
Ingram,
who just got hurt tonight. Should be okay. They don't know, but Evan Ingram midseason form. Oh, that's huge right there. Team 4, who's also looking for a quarterback, took Marvin Jones.
Yeah. So see, this is why I felt good about waiting.
You're welcome. Man. So we're here in round 11. Football Guys Players Championship, $350 buy-in. PPR, 1.5 PPR for tight ends. Dwayne and I co-owning this team. When we win, I get $400,000. Dwayne gets $100,000 because of the luck factor. Let's see. Another chat room question. What common offseason narrative do you each think might end up biting many fantasy owners in the butt at the end of the season? To me, I think, people, we talked about it earlier, where they just forego good running backs in round 2 just because they have to do this like zero running back narrative or the anchor narrative. Like what we did we got Austin Eckler in round 2, but I mean, there's guys, if you can start your draft with like Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, like Team 6 did, that's awesome. There's no reason to force it. Running backs are the lifeblood of fantasy football. I don't care what anybody says. You're always searching for them.
So Madison just went in round 11. So that's why I take Pollard in 10. I like to get Madison in round 11 or 12. But sometimes that doesn't work out. And so then Devin Singletary goes. Looking down behind us, Drake, we have 3 teams with a quarterback. We have 1 team without it. But I'm good going ahead and getting Jalen Hurts and like being done with it. Because there's plenty of backs I like that could come back. You good?
Yeah, of course. When am I going to turn down taking Jalen Hurts? Come on.
Yeah, and there you go. Well, good. You don't have to. It was an easy pick. So if you guys have read my strategy articles, Jalen Hurts is a centerpiece to that. Jalen Waddle is a centerpiece receiver. Devonta Smith is a key player. A lot of key players that I talk about in the strategy articles from each position. And I'm going to write up several of these drafts this week. I don't know how many. I've done a bunch this weekend, but I'd like to write up a couple from early position, a couple from late, and then like a couple from, or at least one of each, and then one from mid position. So we could use this one from mid position. This one's worked out really good. Alex Keaton, Perry Brewer. Callaway isn't on this team. I don't even know you. So if you guys don't know Perry, like we're in 2 home leagues together. Perry drafts a lot of these. He's a really good player. And so he's noticed my Callaway love is like probably crazy right now. So yeah, Perry, I don't own him. And he went in the 9th, at the end of the 9th. So
look right after us. Matthew Stafford just goes.
Yeah. And that's a double tap. That's his second quarterback. So this is what happens, right? These people look at these boards and they're like, oh, look, the guy down there in 12 doesn't have a quarterback. And I kind of like his team. I'm going to take Matthew Stafford. Like that stuff happens. Mm-hmm. And then Alex Keaton earlier was talking about robust RB and tight end is not optimal. I would say it's not optimal.
QB run.
Yeah, I'm glad we did what we did. Jesus.
Tannehill,
Lance just boom, immediately gone. They tried to snap him off, but his plan was Lance probably all the way. And he just took it with authority. He's like, Lance, Terrace Marshall, got it. Wow, these guys are flying now. Gio Bernard.
People woke up.
So Alex is right overall, but I don't prescribe to these things 100% because I've won major money in these drafts in the past based on the way drafts have fallen and where I've started 3 running backs and a tight end. I finished second place. I won 30 grand that year starting that way. And it wasn't because I drafted every team that way, but it's because of the way the draft went and the way the value fell out. I drafted Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley in his first year with Sean McVay and Kareem Hunt. And then I came back with Travis Kelce, or it might have been Zach Ertz. So AJ Green. But overall, yes. Running backs and tight ends have higher injury rates.
All right, so we're going to be coming back up here. We have a boatload
Gio
of receivers.
Bernard. And the other thing I'll say is at some point, not optimal becomes optimal. Because if everyone thinks they're doing optimal, they're really not. You're just all the same. So at some point, like there's some element to contrarianism as well. I do agree you want to be careful with the way you build your rosters. And you don't, and again, so I build a lot of these. And my number one rule is still being flexible and being open to value. And because of things like tonight, what happens in some of these drafts and the way they fall.
All right, so we're on the clock. Nyheim Hines, James White, J.D. McKissick, Gio. These are the kind of running backs out there.
I'm taking Nyheim Hines because we need another player that could just play. So we've grabbed Pollard, the big upside. Swift could be hurt week 1. We've got Eckler. Nyheim Hines is the perfect fit for this roster construction right now. You good?
And as we saw, I believe Sam Tevy just went down. yet another another lineman for the Colts. So I don't see them running the ball like they want to early on in the season. So they could be throwing the ball, and if they're throwing the ball, Jonathan Taylor's not going to be on the field. Marlon Mack, watch for him though. He's still going to be a presence this year for Indy.
Yeah, he's a good late round cuff that nobody's really talking about. So these picks like this, and Perry will vouch, like in the chat room, they're my least favorite to make. But you've got to build your roster in a way that it can sustain like some issues, especially if you drafted a player like Swift.
That's what I call it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you've drafted a player like Swift who could be out for 2 weeks to begin the season, you need somebody to put in there. With this roster we've built, like RB2 doesn't have to be gangbusters. It's probably if it can just be okay. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't feel comfortable flexing. I mean, I don't feel comfortable starting Tony Pollard if I had to week 1. I would rather start Nyheim Hines. Now, I could go wrong. Pollard could easily outscore Nyheim Hines. Or by week 3, we could determine that, wow, Pollard has a bigger role than we thought, and he's actually just like Nyheim Hines, but he also has the upside. That's the other reason I like Pollard is he's a good passing down back. And if he does start to eat into what Zeke has, he could have some hidden value as a guy that we could end up using if we had to. So there goes Burrow. Bryan Edwards off the board, round 12. Bryan Edwards is a great pick in round 12. I draft him a ton. It's just not the way – and that's why it's hard to take a guy like Nyheim Hines because you're sitting there and you're like, oh, my God, Bryan Edwards is available. Like he's a guy that could really end up being something big. Marquise Brown, a guy I never let make typically to the 12th round. But at some point, you have to determine what's the best for your roster construction, and you got to take a player like Nyheim Hines, who is still a decent value. And then now look, see J.D. McKissick goes. Gio Bernard went in front of us. So, I mean, the tier was getting tight.
Still on the board, those Jets. Tevin Coleman.
No one ever wants them because no one knows. They don't want to deal with how do I determine who I freaking start?
Right. And a 20-round draft, though, they're going to get taken. Yeah,
but they usually don't go to late, like super late. It's funny. Despite all the noise around, oh, this guy's the starter, nobody gives a shit.
What do you think with backup tight ends here? It is 1.5 PPR. Let's, God forbid, something goes wrong with Kyle Pitts. You still have Cole Kmet on the board.
Cook, Henry. Don't say some of these names out loud. But yes, Cole Kmet is the one I want. That's the player I want. There goes Lindsey. There goes T.Y. Hilton, who's hurt. T.Y. Hilton I already have scratched off.
Oh, my God.
Lindsey and
Justin Fields off the board. A kicker went.
Yes, sir.
Whoa.
You're in a good draft. Oh, and there goes Tua. Wow, I don't know that I've seen Tua go that early.
Starting round 13, Justin Fields and Tua Tagovailoa. By the way, did you see the amazing tweet? Someone sent a handwritten letter to Schefter and Field Yates telling them how they mispronounced Tua's name. And then in the letter, they go, Mike Greenberg also does it, but he's too much of a cockbag. I'm not going to send him a letter.
Oh, my gosh.
It's amazing. The guy's like, I'm a former broadcaster. He like phonetically wrote it out. It was amazing. And Cole Kmet.
Hey, I should do better with pronouncing some players' names. Like I get turned around on them too. So I don't mean anything by it, but all right. I'm just making sure I got everything caught up here. Like when I'm talking, man, I'm not very good about making sure I keep all this stuff marked off. Oh, David Johnson, the guy you wanted, Drake. I know that was your hope. Hopes and dreams are now dashed by another player.
Like
Dwayne. I already had marked off the list.
It was when he came out.
I like this. These guys just feel like they have to take all these quarterbacks. I will literally go into the season with just Jalen Hurts.
Man, oh man, look at this. He's still on the if you're looking at tight ends, by the way, Fitzmagic still out there, Baker, Cousins, Matt Ryan, who we could pair with Kyle Pitts, Derek Carr, Zach Wilson, Big Ben, who's going to throw a shit ton. He's not going to run.
We don't even need another quarterback.
Yeah. Jameis.
We can just pick one up later.
Whoever wins the Pat starting job.
There goes the Rams. This is wonderful.
Got 75 people watching live right here. 75, 80. Any of the fantasy guys in here? We know that some of you are out there watching. Say hello.
Yeah. The pick here is Cole Kmet if he's available. If he's not, I believe the pick is Chuba Hubbard. But Cole Kmet is there, and we have now selected Cole Kmet.
Love it.
Cole Kmet down the stretch last year was in a route over 80% of the time. That's a key number that you want for your tight ends. With what's happened with Irv Smith, he and Gerald Everett are kind of the two now that if I'm having to wait till late to take one, those two are the key players that I'm targeting the most often. I like Jonnu Smith too. I just don't know what's going to happen with them with having Henry and Jonnu, and I'm just concerned about the Patriots offense overall. Not that I'm excited about the Bears, but Cole Kmet goes later. And I feel like his upside, as a young player, I like that unknown.
And I like Jonnu too. And I think he's going to be, I don't think he's going to be in line. I think they're going to use him a lot more down the field. But I mean, we've seen already the way that Cam, if Cam's a starter, and I think Cam will be for the first few weeks, likes to target Aguilar. He likes to target Myers. And I mean, we got the guy 1, 2, 3, like 4 rounds later.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard is a nice pick in rounds 13 to 15. If you're looking for like what we were with Hines, right, a player that can just kind of get us through at running back, but this is at receiver. So if you took, for example, like maybe you had taken even us, like we've got Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle. They're both rookies. That could be kind of scary out of the gate. Sterling Shepard's a guy that probably through September, until Kenny Galladay is fully healthy, especially if you've got Ingram dinged up now. I mean, he's going to lead this team in targets. I mean, he could be getting 7-8 targets a game for
every
3 or 4
week.
games, and he helps get you through. And there goes James White. That was another player that I had my eye on. Let's see here.
There's a lot of guys in your running back queue here, including the 2 Jets. We're going to end up drafting a goddamn Jet just because I have to.
Are you just trying to mess with people? Just so people know I don't have a fucking Jet in my queue, and I won't.
At some point, one of these Jets is coming on board.
I'm not going to allow you to do that. I'll let you have a Jet. Like if it means that much to you, Drake.
Well, at some point, if we keep going, I got multiple people telling me Ty Johnson's starting running back, and I know what happened yesterday. I watched the game, but.
Yeah, but here's my thing. Ty Johnson being the starting running back does not matter. He's going to play the first series. That's all it means. That's all it means.
Tevin Coleman, I'm not saying take him next round. I'm saying,
The only running back that I want
rounds to go.
This team is Michael Carter, and he's going too soon. There goes the running back that we wanted to own. Team 12 actually knows they're doing a solid job.
They're probably doing a fucking podcast too.
Yeah, Chuba Hubbard's a great pick. If we didn't need Cole Kmet there, Chuba would have been the pick. Chuba's a guy that I talk about as being a key to the drafts this year. And he's the one you can get later than Tony Pollard and Madison and those guys. I try to typically come away with 2 out of A.J. Dillon's in there, but he always goes so early. I've only got him one time. He fell to the 10th the other night, and I got him. But A.J. Dillon, Tony Pollard, Alexander Madison, Chuba Hubbard, and Darrington Evans is who I was going to say, and he just took him too. So this guy probably is reading my article. I have Aaron Jones ranked 4. That's his first pick. I talk about taking Ridley in the second as a key component. I talk about being aggressive with tight end at the turn. He did. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. But the Chuba Hubbard, Darrington Evans picks. And then I talked about if you get cut off at the quarterbacks, just make Trey Lance your pick and then come back and find another guy to pair with him later. So Malcolm Brown gone.
You are up next.
Malcolm Brown, who I already had marked off. Zach Ertz just keeps climbing boards, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I mean, hey, there could be teams out there who could use a Zach Ertz this week. There's going to be trades, folks. By the way, the preseason's over. and you still have 2 weeks until week 1.
God,
cuts are later now. It's not Labor Day weekend anymore. So you could see some trade action here in the next few weeks. Zach Ertz, it wouldn't shock me at all if he was moved to a Minnesota or New Orleans or something like that. Especially if we see what happens with Irv Smith and Tyler Conklin's banged up.
I don't ever take Jalen Reagor. I mean,
I wouldn't either.
We have Hurts. Jalen, he looks like trash.
I'd rather take Gabriel Davis over him.
I'd rather take Emmanuel Sanders over Gabriel Davis.
I mean, look at that Bills offense. They are going to throw a shit ton.
Yep. So we're on the clock. I want Tony Jones, because once Chuba and Evans went, he's the next big cuff. Because he's really Alvin Kamara's cuff. And so that would give us 2. That would give us Pollard, and that would give us Tony Jones. We've got Nyheim Hines playing a receiver role. And there's a chance Tony Jones just takes over all of Latavius Murray's work, period, and also provides some kind of value if we need it.
You are on the clock.
Thank you,
good?
Young lady.
Are you good? Did you hear what I said?
At this point, I mean, really, it doesn't matter, folks.
It does, actually. This is where you win shit.
Well, I'm saying,
Right
it doesn't
here.
matter what I say. Is Dwayne going to say, no, we're not taking this guy? I have no control. Dwayne controls the board. I sit here like a jerk off drinking my beer.
I'll give you half of your entry feedback on this one.
I haven't even said it to you.
I know. Yeah, I would be happy to own this team by myself. This is a fucking monster. You're like, hell no. And you're like, I got the whole episode recorded
for this team. Rams defense.
I try to be fair. It is weird, like because I've been doing these, right? And it's like, and I've been thinking about these like all the time. So it's just kind of weird. Like sometimes I probably do just kind of get ahead of myself. So I apologize, but I'll promise you I'm taking good care of us.
It's all right. Yeah, there's just know, folks, my influence will be felt on this team with a Jets running back and I don't know, Randall Cobb at some point, or Gabe Davis. Nico Collins and Quez Watkins round out the crew here in rounds 18 and 19.
I like Nico Collins.
Me too. Someone's got to catch the ball there.
Well, and he started and played more than Chris Conley, so I think he's won the role.
I mean, Jesus Christ, think of what we're talking about here. He beat Chris Conley. I think I beat out Chris Conley on an intramural team last year.
Sammy Watkins, does that just make you shiver?
He might be the only receiver that they have week 1.
This is why I don't let you make picks, Drake, because you give me good reasons to take players that I never want.
Well, I mean, you think about it. Hollywood Brown hasn't been cleared to play. Rashad Bateman's got a core injury.
Yeah, but look at our receivers. Sammy Watkins is never playing on
Sammy
this
Watkins is going to have one good week, and then he's going to.
And guess what? No one's going to start Sammy Watkins week 1, no matter what.
The guy who took him took the Rams' freaking defense in round 13. I ain't worried about it.
Yeah, his receivers are Tyler Boyd, Brandon Cooks, Devontae Parker, and Sammy Watkins. Running backs are Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Chase Edmonds, Mike Davis. Tight ends, Tyler Higbee, Jonnu Smith, Irv Smith. I think this is the team that Alex was talking about. And yeah, this is the type of team that I would never want to draft. No offense, cute puppies. Love you. Hopefully you listen to the podcast. We can bring you on and talk about it.
This team's got more concussions than I have beers in the fridge.
Speaking of, Drake, do you know how to work this queue? If I go get a beer, just in case it goes fast, I'll be right back.
No, I have no control over anything.
You don't? You have a queue open? All right, I'll be right back. You guys talk Drake through what to do if he needs it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll change tabs and it'll come up. So Jared Cook going off the board, Kenny Gainwell, Devontae Booker. So it's a lot of shots in the dark here. We're in round 14, folks, of a 20-round draft. A lot of guys now. Team 3 here with their third tight end. Got Noah Fant, Evan Ingram, who's already banged up, and Jared Cook. Jared Cook, not bad, but, you've got Donald Parham there also. Here's some auto picks for team number 1. Cole Beasley, Jalen Reagor go off the board. Now, again, I don't do these very often, so I'm not exactly sure in a 20-team draft when we should start pulling the trigger on a defense, and I'm sure it's not anytime soon. Yes, if I got to put that up. If Dwain is gone, we are taking a Jets running back. All right, we'll fuck with Dwain here. He comes back. All right, folks. There it is. Ty Johnson to our squad here in round 15. Oh, Dwain, you're back. See, I don't even know if he can hear us now. It's no fun trying to mess with it. I think your earbuds worked the whole way down the hall.
They did. Well, I saw Mosswell says draft a Jets running back while he's gone.
Well, I mean, Jesus, we just had the Pittsburgh defense go off the board and then auto picks of Cole Beasley and Jalen Reagor. Which, by the way, the Cole Beasley pick is not bad.
No, it's not. It's
round
not.
14. The guy finished it.
It's honestly like had we not had the receivers we had, like I don't mind taking Beasley at times.
I think he was 4th in the NFL in slot targets last year. I was up late drinking, looking at PFF.
Oh, look at this. Get your defenses, folks. You have to have them. If you don't, you're going to lose.
People think this is a 15-round draft.
Yeah, they do. It's funny. You'll see when it happens because people all start taking their backup quarterbacks and their defenses and their kickers. And it's like they'll take them all in a row. And that's when you know you're like, well, the list just ran out for that dude.
All right, we're coming up here in a second.
My, how Adam Troutman has fallen. Just sliding down the board. Eric Ebron. I wouldn't mind Troutman this late. Problem is, I don't know how long it's going to be before he plays. ADP of 160.
Let me see who else is out here. Emmanuel Sanders. Aguilar go already?
I mean, we're 2 rounds past Troutman's ADP.
Rashad
I know
Penny.
I've already tried using the Troutman thing on you before, and you didn't know. Now, Justice Hill would be the pick I would love to make.
Tyrell Williams. I mean, we don't need more receivers. I'm just saying Tyrell Williams, number 1 receiver, still out there.
Yeah, if I were to take a receiver, it would be Emmanuel Sanders because of what you said. The Bills are going to pass a ton. I think he's going to be the number 2 receiver in the offense. Gabriel Davis will rotate onto the field in the 4 wide receiver sets. Emmanuel Sanders is taking over John Brown's role. The other option would be Paris Campbell with the injury to T.Y. Hilton, which I already like Paris Campbell. Emmanuel Sanders just went. So I kind of like grabbing Paris Campbell here or Justice Hill, Drake. I like both those plays. Justice Hill being, we don't know. It could be Tyson Williams being the backup.
There's thoughts this kid's going to get. I mean, but really, is there any value in being the passing down back on the Ravens?
Well, I don't think Justice Hill may just be the passing down back. I don't think it's said and done that Tyson, is going to be the next backup. I don't know. So, I mean, I'm fine taking Paris Campbell, but Justice Hill could be worth a lot.
I mean, shit, you can take Boston Scott here for all that matters. There's Carlos Hyde. We know he's going to get.
See, that's the thing. That's where, I don't like Boston Scott. What's the point? He's never going to be worse. He's not going to be worse. I don't want Carlos Hyde. He should already be. I don't already have him marked off. He should already have a line through him.
How about a Jet guy?
Hang on. I'm going to refresh your sheet, and you'll see what I think about the Jet guys.
Why is there a penis drawn next to them? Are we on the clock, by the way? No. All right. Oh, my God. The Pats defense goes after us. There's Gabe Davis. I think Gabe Davis is going to have a sneaky great year.
Yeah, maybe. He needs Emmanuel Sanders to get hurt, which could really happen. He just runs go routes the whole damn time. That's the problem. He's not really a route runner. That's why he's not out there all the time. It's basically hey, man, it's 3rd and 20. Just go out there, and I'm going to chunk it. And now he scores touchdowns on those plays, which is crazy, given the fact that a defense you would think would be ready, right, for that play.
So we have 7 receivers right now. Are there any other – I mean, we don't have to say who, but are there any other tight ends that interest you here?
Yeah, I mean, I already told you Troutman, falling this far doesn't happen. But I don't know how long he's going to be hurt. Juwan Johnson is the other, is the sleeper tight end in New Orleans, who I like. I don't feel obligated to take any of those.
I'd rather
I do love the Broncos defense because of the first 4 weeks. Like, it's nuts. I don't normally take defenses this soon. Like, to me, the easy pick here is Justice Hill. But if there's like there goes Austin Hooper. I was going to say his name.
Folks want to know the Broncos' schedule in the regular season is at the Giants, at the Jaguars, home for the Jets, and then home for the Ravens.
It's just the first 3 weeks. It's an auto start, and you're going to be as good. You're going to be as well off as any other defense that you're facing. So it's just the start off fast factor, right? And then what happens is maybe they have their confidence and they just turn into a monster defense. But I'd be willing to take them here. They're not always easy to get. Usually I get them in the 17th or 18th. I don't normally take
situation,
defenses.
and Jeremy points it out
defenses
well in our chat. We could probably get both running backs from the Ravens and then see what shakes out.
Yeah, we could. All right. So what are you wanting here, Drake?
I want another beer already. Let me see how we're looking here. How much time do we have?
28 seconds.
I mean,
my thought is you take Hill. If you like the Denver defense, and I'm not going to argue with you, the schedule's phenomenal. You just get it out of the way. Like I said, I don't normally take one this early, but there's nothing screaming at me that's like, oh my God, I have to have this right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you got to make it 5 seconds.
All right, pick somebody quick.
All right, well, I'll just pick. You didn't tell me who to pick. So.
Yeah, in 5 seconds. I don't want to lose the fucking pick.
Well, I mean, I already had it on the Broncos, so it's like it was going to take them auto. But I mean, we're adapting. Like more defenses have gone sooner in this draft. So I mean, you just kind of have to adapt. If you want to own one, like here, this was the pick to do it. Kicker, I don't care. I will wait. There's actually 3 kickers that I love. We'll talk about them when we get to the last round, and we'll get one of them.
Yeah, I mean, we're here in round 16, folks. This is a 20-round draft. People are already taking these kickers. Butker, Tucker, Suckup, and Bass off the board in just this round. Younghoe Koo went in round 12. 12. That's crazy. You didn't know. Nobody knew who that jerk off was a year ago. And now you're going to take him in round 12. Kickers come and go. I mean, it's like the clap. It pops up. You go, you get it taken care of, and then boom, it's gone. The next problem comes up. I mean, what are we doing?
Hey, Drake. The other defense I love is the Browns, but I know they start off with the Chiefs. I don't know what their schedule looks like after Denver's. I haven't drafted 2 defenses yet in this league this year.
Schedule?
But I don't know what it looks like. Like after the 3 weeks that Denver has a great schedule, I don't know what the Browns look like week 4, 5, 6.
Minnesota. It's not great. It's at Minnesota, at the Chargers, home for the Cardinals. So, I mean, there's 3 offenses that can score.
Not worth it. Okay. There goes Tevin Coleman. So I'll let you take Ty Johnson when it comes back to us if that's what you want. I would prefer Justice Hill, but you can have Ty Johnson if you want.
We might get both.
Receiver that I like late, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Like if Beckham or Landry were to be hurt, he's not going to be worth anything without an injury because they don't run enough 11 personnel. They run 21 and 12 a ton. They run less 11 personnel than pretty much any other team besides like Minnesota. But if one of those guys were to be hurt, he's looked great in camp. So that's a receiver that we can have on the list.
Your boy Troutman's still there.
Yeah, I know. Maybe news came out on him that we haven't seen. I'm going to hit a refresh on my injury news.
I keep typing Roto World. Damn you, John Daigle.
Yeah, Sports Edge. I've got it up.
I'll look him up here. Adam.
I don't see anything. Sometimes you're better just to search Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
There goes Darrell Williams and Rashad Bateman.
I like the Bateman pick there.
Yeah, the problem is, like, how long is he out?
You don't know.
Yeah, what I find is most picks like that end up released within the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season, like as reality sets in of all the players that we somehow missed, even in a 20-team draft.
Troutman losing steps. So Troutman's got a foot and an ankle. Don't we all?
I love that.
He was carted to the locker room.
He's got a foot. He's got an ankle.
They think he avoided major issues.
Yeah. Oh, good. He went. Screw it. We don't have to worry about it.
All right.
All right. So we are in round 17. You have 4 picks left. One of them does have to be a kicker. So we have flexibility with the other 3 spots. Just getting completely updated on
Justice Hill and Ty Johnson.
Yeah, how do they look in the queue? Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I don't like. I mean, this is late for him. I'll say
Nico
that.
Collins is still there. We like him.
Yeah, I've got Nico Collins over in the queue. I've got Kadri Allison in the queue, playing behind a dead zone running back, Mike Davis. I've got Juwan Johnson, tight end for the Saints in the queue.
We got that. Was it Taysom Williams, the other running back there in Baltimore?
Yeah, I gotta add him.
Tyson Williams.
Yeah, it's T-Y
apostrophe S-O-N.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson off the board. Let's follow me on Twitter there. Thanks, buddy. Rumors that he could be going to the Dolphins.
Yeah, I felt like that deal was happening, and then it wasn't.
Boy, I'd like to 17, 18. I mean, we could legit. You never know. We could get Williams.
Jameis.
We could get.
All right, so we'll take Justice Hill right now because that's the one that people will know, unless you want Ty Johnson.
But take Ty Johnson here, please, for my sanity.
All right, Ty Johnson, Drake. That's your pick.
Thank you.
I'm gonna laugh when it wins the league. The thing I like about Ty Johnson is early in the season, maybe we can use him if we had to.
What are you drinking?
It's not a bad pick from that. I don't know. I'm out of beer. I was drinking Modelo, and I'm out.
I went to LA, man. Everything is Modelo. I didn't care.
This is a hard seltzer with a hint of black cherry, Drake.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
nice pick, Steffi Smalls.
Oh, Randall Cobb,
Zerline.
Man, they're taking all these players I never take.
Let's see. 18. Let's see. We might be able to get 18, 19, 20 if we can get Justice Hill, Tyson Williams, and a kicker. What a dream.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind getting one more receiver.
Nico Collins, is he still there?
Well, that or Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like both of those players.
Both those guys look good. Yeah, Peoples-Jones looks great. Not that the Browns receivers are pictures of health.
I mean, the other option at running back is Kadri Allison. Like if you want like another like handcuff. So, I mean, we've got 2 nice handcuffs with Pollard and Jones. We've got a Band-Aid kind of PPR guy, Naheem Hines. Then you got a guy you can use early in the season. Who knows? Maybe he plays longer. Ty Johnson. Receivers are Devonte Adams, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Paris Campbell. Tight ends are Kyle Pitts and Cole Kmet. Quarterback is Jalen Hurts. And the Denver Bronco defense.
What about a guy like Justin Jackson? We already have.
I like him. I do like Justin Jackson. I'm not big on cuffing my players, but this late, I don't mind. The thing is with Jackson, like he's already been hurt again. It's like, God, like can the guy ever freaking stay healthy?
Yeah, I mean, he's not great.
That's why I have him in red on the board.
Pat Fryermuth off the board. All right. Sullivan Ahmed. He was our last pick of my buddy Kevin Tompkins, who's in the chat. We took him in, I think, with our final selection of the Kings Classic out in Canton.
Here goes Hayden Hurst.
Which, by the way,
So
will be
Fryermuth,
drunken
Hayden
time
Hurst,
next year.
double tap. Oh, Mark Ingram. How about that?
Would it shock you if Mark Ingram was traded and or released and signed back by the Ravens?
No. Like that could totally happen.
Or Todd Gurley, who Pro Football Talk hinted.
Totally happen. Could totally happen. Any one of those things could happen.
Oh.
With these picks, you're just swinging for, thinking about some upside. I mean, it's all you're doing. And if the news breaks, then here's the cool part. It makes it easy. It's an easy cut, like week 1 of the waiver runs.
You are on the clock.
Carlos Hyde.
So if you like one of the receivers here better, I don't mind taking one of them. If you just want to fade the backs and take Juwan Johnson as a sleeper tight end, or Nico Collins or Donovan Peoples-Jones, like we can take any one of those players.
Of all those, I like Nico Collins the best. I think he's the wide receiver 2 on the Texans and walking concussion.
My only problem with it, I do love him. My only problem with it, I see no clue. I don't see a way he cracks this lineup. Like
our lineup, yeah. Well.
Like ever. Whereas at running back, we're a little bit thin. Like that's my only issue. Look, I have Justice Hill at my 150th player right now, at least until they sign somebody. I just don't. My thought is we just take him.
All right. You've wanted him long enough. Let's go.
Yeah. Look, as soon as they sign another back, it's fine. We'll cut him.
Our buddy Crunch there, I mistakenly muted him and put him in a timeout.
Why did you mute him?
I was trying to do somebody else who's spamming the chat. Crunch, I'm sorry. It was not meant for you, my friend.
Oh, who was it? Was it Tompkins?
No, just somebody else in here who's annoying.
We got great contribution, Drake. That must have been on the Ty
that's
Johnson
what got you muted. Don't say that.
Guys, don't fuck around with Drake, man. He'll mute your ass.
I mute a lot of guys on Twitter, especially if you're engagement farming and you say nothing of fucking value.
People are funny, man. People are just mean. It's like some people just like to be mean.
Twitter's full of the worst people in the world. Probably why I'm on there.
Yeah. Well, lots of people getting exposed.
I love when the tides turn. Everybody loves certain people for 5 minutes on Twitter, and then all of a sudden, like, reality sets in, and everyone's like, wait, no, this guy's a jerk off, and just everyone just sicks him.
Yeah.
That's what I
the quick explosion onto the scene, like, always is like, I think it's great. Like, for some, I root for people. I want them to do well. But that seems to be like the accounts that like get in the most trouble.
Mm-hmm. It happens all the time. It's the same as when you see like a TikTok. There was a great article out there about folks who started TikTok in the pandemic, and then, a few weeks or months into it, they're like, we don't have any content. We don't know what to do. We're burned out. And it's like, well, yeah, you were fly by night. You were a one-hit wonder. Now, when you actually have to do legit content, oh my God, it sucks.
How do you get burned out from making TikTok content? I mean, I've never tried it, so maybe
lip syncing must be very difficult, Dwayne. I don't know. By the way, at FF Hustle, we have a TikTok account now. We've never put anything out, but I just secured the domain. Please follow us.
We'll let my daughter run the TikTok channel.
Sure. It'd be better than whatever we come up with.
It'll be something about like people playing Minecraft or Roblox or something like that.
My kid's way into Roblox.
Oh, dude, do they watch the guy on YouTube? Flamingo is his name.
We're big Combo Panda fans over here.
Which, by the way, is apparently like a multimillionaire as a TikToker, and he's
all those guys are. We're idiots. We're in here talking about fantasy football like 800,000 other middle-aged white guys. We should be talking to kids about video games. That's where the cash is.
Yeah, we should just have on backward hats. I should get, my gray taken care of.
We got Crutch back here. Sorry, buddy. We did not mean to. That was not meant for you. It was for somebody else. And the
look at him. He came back at you on. He came back on you. He came back at you in Twitch.
I love it.
He found another avenue. He's adaptable.
We have our one Twitch user. Thank God.
Yeah, Jeremy mentioned Ahmed, not sexy, but played well last year, and he did.
So Malcolm Brown,
and it's a three-way split there. The way I look at it, Ahmed's the one you can get the latest. Gaskin is obviously the guy we like the most, but man, drafting a back in the dead zone, it's in a three-way committee. Not a big part of my strategy, buddy. Not gonna lie.
We're gonna start calling that back for like the Devil's threesome or something.
Yeah, people will be like, "Hey, did you guys hear about the Devil's threesome?" Yeah, I do like Ollison here. I kind of like just stabbing again at back, Drake.
There goes Justin Jackson.
Wow, these guys are
double kicker.
That's the second double kicker. This has never happened to me.
Thanks
so
for your donation,
actually,
buddies.
The kickers that I like, that I told you I weighed on, are Robbie Gould, 49ers kicker. Typically in that Kubiak, Shanahan, when their offenses are going, it's a good kicker to own. Jason Myers, who's still on the board, and we may have to actually take Jason Myers here because one team behind us doesn't have a kicker, and all the guys I normally like are gone now. I don't mind Crosby. But those are the two. I don't think any of these guys behind us would double tap kicker
Crosby.
again.
Like, you got Brandon McManus. That's good offense, and in that altitude. Will Lutz down there in New Orleans.
Yeah, they're not going to score
Elliott
many points.
Philly.
They're not going to score as many points.
Bagley, no, he's in. We're going to take him.
Yeah, no, the ones I like would be Jason. I like Jason Myers. It's going to be a good offense. They're going to run a lot of plays. I like the Green Bay Packers. They just score a lot of touchdowns. You're going to get touchdown regression from Rodgers. That's amazing. We actually got snapped off at kicker. Like, that's never happened in my life.
I'd take Brandon McManus here. Daniel Carlson. No. That's an offense that stalls.
Crosby is way better than McManus. Plays in a much more efficient offense. You're going to get touchdown regression from Aaron Rodgers. Those turn into field goals.
Yeah, I'm looking at thin air, guy with a big leg. I don't know. In this league, do you get points for like
I'm looking at a guy
field goals?
With big leg and thin air, Dwayne.
That shit works. Hey, why was people love young?
It doesn't work when your offense
the guy
sucks
nailed
balls.
50-yarders all last year.
Doesn't matter. He sucked balls last year. You didn't want Brandon McManus. He had like a 3-game stretch. It is just
Carlson's good too.
Yeah, Carlson. I would rather own Carlson than that. But we don't have to do any of that. We can either take the tight end in Juwan Johnson. We can take Kadri Ollison. We can take Tyson Williams. I like taking a stab at another back here, just with the way our roster is built.
Oh yeah, of course.
All right, let's do Kadri Ollison. We'll let it hang on Tyson Williams. I don't really like owning two guys from the same team. All right, we'll take Ollison, and that's actually a value. He's usually like a 15th, 16th round pick. And then we'll just see what these guys – one of these guys has to take a kicker. If somebody takes two kickers, I'm just whatever. We'll take Brandon McManus. So he took Blankenship. So we'll either get Crosby, McManus, or Carlson. It's fine. We'll get one of those three.
Good question in the chat here. Why is no one talking about CJ Uzoma and tight end premium? Burrow seemed to be digging him before the injury.
Yeah, he's going to be the 4th to 5th option on the team. My guess is he gets less targets than Joe Mixon and all three receivers. The offensive line has challenges, so they will keep their tight ends into block. And there's still going to be somewhat of a rotation, potentially with Sample. So it's just he could be a waiver wire pickup. Like he could turn into that. But it's just not somebody I'm targeting. Mm-hmm. And what you're seeing these guys do here is they're taking the upside of like Freiermuth, Hayden Hurst. Like if for some reason Kyle Pitts plays outside all the time, Hayden Hurst, a former first-round pick tight end, right? So you get all of a sudden if Pitts is playing outside 70% of snaps, like Hayden Hurst, all of a sudden, like you just got a tight end that probably should have been going around 12 or 13.
Getting ready for round 20 here. Let's just review our team for anybody that's still not passed out drunk and chilling with us here. Started with Devonte Adams, came back Austin Eckler, got our tight end premium selection here with Kyle Pitts in round 3. Deandre Swift, hopefully his groin holds up. I've never prayed for a man's groin before, but I will for Deandre Swift. Round 5. And then we started just hammering wide receiver. DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith, another rookie in Jalen Waddle, Tony Pollard, Jalen Hurts is our only quarterback. And we got some pass catching action here with Nyheim Hines, the up and coming Cole Kmet in round 13, Tony Jones. Let's hope he wins that role in New Orleans as the backup running back and kind of big running back. Paris Campbell in 15, Broncos defense. Then my pick of the year and Ty Johnson. Just Dwayne, you already have my PayPal for the $500K. Justice Hill, Kadri Allison, and we'll be coming back around with our kicker in round 20. Yes, somebody drafted J.K. Dobbins in a big money league. Oh, look at this. They know how to butter me up. He's looking for a T-shirt.
Yeah, the fact that Dobbins got drafted was insane.
Not only did he get drafted, I mean, he got drafted in shit, where did he go? J.K. Dobbins round 4.
Yeah. I drafted J.K. Dobbins last night before we knew for sure what was up in the 13th. Now I'll just release him now. But it was just like he had fallen far enough and we didn't know yet. And I was like, man, I'll add him as my RB4 and just see what happens.
A lot of folks watching this. If you're out on YouTube, like, comment, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's doing pretty well, so we can put out some YouTube exclusives like this.
Yeah, let's talk through some of the teams real quick, Drake. I've got it on auto draft. It's going to take our kicker for us.
You are on the clock.
Who's it take? Who's it take? Suspense is killing me. What is going to run down the whole goddamn clock?
No,
Mason Crosby. Hooray.
Crosby.
Okay, so let's look at some.
And what I like about Crosby also is it's the latest bye week. So if he starts off great, then we just don't have to worry about it for a while. Carlson plays indoors, and Tompkins brought that up. And I do like Carlson, but his bye week is week 7. So anytime I have tiebreakers like that, I don't have to worry about the kicker. And most likely we will just be picking up a different kicker anyway. But I just have silly tiebreakers like that in my head. But because I manage multiple teams too. So it's like any kind of shortcut in my mind that, if Crosby's good and I don't have to worry about his bye to like week 13, then that's a bonus. Let's see. So let's ask the chat room like they can see.
What do you guys think? I like
what teams do they like? Yeah.
Team 2 started Travis Kelce, CEH, Keenan Allen, Josh Allen, Kareem Hunt, and then Claypool, Galladay. So, decent. You got possible tight end 1, possible QB 1, a couple of serviceable running backs right there. Get by with those receivers.
Yeah, I like that roster. Okay. It's not like my favorite way to construct, but I do like, you've got, it's what you said, you've got Kelsey, and you get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, Keenan Allen would probably be a top 12 receiver. You could have the top quarterback, if not, like probably top 3. Kareem Hunt just steadies your RB2 spot. And then you've got Claypool and Galladay. So Galladay's your first flex. And then that's where it gets kind of tricky on him. Or the drafter. This drafter's mama. So this drafter could be, I maybe shouldn't be saying guy. So Jarvis Landry, Jacoby Myers. I really do like Jacoby Myers. I think that's a nice pick. Mm-hmm. They just took Todd Gurley with their last pick.
Not bad at all.
But man, I do not like flexing Jarvis Landry. I don't like it. Jacoby Myers maybe, but we haven't seen. I do like Jacoby Myers, but we haven't seen what it's going to look like with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry out there. I feel like it's going to be a not very good offense, spreading the ball around to a lot of players. And so I do like Myers, but I typically let him fall to the 12th or 13th before I take him. So my concern for that team, for team 2, would be, how are you going to win your flex game? And then once you took Kareem Hunt, you came back with Zach Moss, who's not doing much, and the only other back on the team is Todd Gurley. So you're essentially saying that you're living with Kareem Hunt unless Zach Moss takes over for Singletary on a team that's still going to throw the ball 70% of the time, and Josh Allen's going to run in half the touchdowns. So I don't like those parts. So the flex, I like what you said. The start is good. You've got one flex in Galladay, who has had no connection right now so far because he's been hurt and hasn't looked good. But the value on Galladay was good. Getting Galladay at the beginning of round 7 was probably, I don't have it in front of me, probably a 6 to 8, maybe 10 pick discount, somewhere in that range. So I definitely like when you can take value like that. If we look at team 1, team 1's got McCaffrey, comes back in the 4th, gets Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. I mean, nobody's going to argue with that. 2 great young receivers, ascending talents. Either one of them could finish, technically as the wide receiver 1 for the whole season. I mean, it's going to be hard to knock off Adams, Diggs, and Hill, but like those guys could do it. And if they don't, they both have shots at being in the top 6 easily. So I like both of those players. Come back with Darrell Henderson. It's a dead zone running back for me at this point with the addition of Sony Michel, but he is an explosive player, and it's in an offense that's going to be good. Nice pick with Deontay Johnson. So right now, what you're looking at, your starting running backs are Christian McCaffrey, Darrell Henderson, and then picked up Gus Edwards in the 6th round and got a value, man, on Lamar Jackson in the 7th round. So I like this team actually probably a little better than team 2 because they still got you got Lamar Jackson 3 rounds after Josh Allen. Now, the weakness to every team here has a weakness. That's the way these drafts typically go. But team 1's weakness is tight end. Mike Gesicki not getting to play the slot near as much. Jalen Waddle is playing that. Looks really good right now with Tua, but I don't know. Like last year, he struggled to get to 70% of the routes per drop back. This year, my guess is once Fuller is healthy and you've got Devonta Parker outside, Gesicki's probably not going to play in line, and meaning he's going to have lots of games where he may not even get half of the routes. And I think that's going to be maddening, but you're just going to have to stick with him. Great pick with Marquez Callaway, beginning of round 9, pick 1, absolute home run. So I like this roster because they can flex Deontay Johnson and Callaway. They've got Henderson and Edwards. They just need one to work out. And if they both work out, that's an extra flex play. You got a top 4 quarterback in Lamar Jackson. I think team 1, just now sitting here looking at it, like from a construction standpoint, it's sound. Michael Pittman, you get in the 11th. I hate the Leonard Fournette pick in the 10th. I feel like he's a player that will eventually be phased out. I think it'll be 1st and 2nd downs for mostly Rojo. Fournette will get every 3rd series. Maybe they rotate every series, but Gio Bernard is going to take over all that passing work that helped keep Leonard Fournette as a viable option last year. That's all going to be gone. I do like the Pittman pick. I hate the Phillip Lindsay pick. I don't like picking backs from
these are all auto picks too for this guy.
But he had his queue set up. Look at the way it went. These were not normal. He had his queue ordered. So Justin Fields, nice pick. Going with Lamar Jackson, you got it in the 13th round. It's really more you just took Justin Fields and nobody else can have him if he goes off. And if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, you've got a similar type commodity like once Justin Fields is playing. Cole Beasley gives you another player. I really like this team. Jalen Reagor we don't like, but you got him in the 15th round. I actually do like team 1. Just team 3 real quick. The J.K. Dobbins things immediately in round 4 is a killer. So I don't know how much we have to go down. Darnell Mooney's a reach, in my opinion, in round 9. I like Darnell Mooney in the round 10, 11 range. Ronald Jones, I'm not a big fan. There are really smart players that love Ronald Jones. I don't get it. I don't want a back that's going to rotate like every third series and not get any of the passing work. The positive you could say about Ronald Jones is he does play one of the best offenses in the league, and maybe he scores. He does have long play potential. Maybe he scores, 10 rushing touchdowns. I just think that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough with Leonard Fournette in the way. Evan Ingram as the second tight end, but then T.Y. Hilton, who's hurt. David Johnson, who's in a 4-way committee. Rex Burkhead, for crying out loud, played with the starters as well this last yesterday. Team 3 is going to not like terrible, but once you add in the mistakes of Dobbins and then T.Y. Hilton, and I consider David Johnson basically as a mistake as well, that's tough. It's tough to overcome. And you double tapped defense and kicker. It's just, this is what not to do. Team 4. So this is a team that just went heavy, and you jump in here too, Drake.
This is a team here. If you look, I love the start. Alvin Kamara, George Kittle, who I think could easily be a top 2 tight end. CeeDee Lamb, everyone's gaga over. Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, which is great.
Tyler Lockett does not make it to round 5, pick 4. That was a screaming value at that pick.
This team
and then coming back
needs
with Sermon.
a running back 2 to hit. They need Trey Sermon to hit if they want to make the playoffs. It's all receivers here. Their running backs outside of Kamara are Sermon, McKissick, Gainwell, Boston Scott, and Justin Jackson.
Yeah.
So,
but this is a zero. This is a modified 0 RB team. That's what this is. This is a purist. We're coming in, and this is what we're doing. And it worked out good because Lockett making it back in the 5th. But the Kamara Kittle thing's great. And getting CeeDee Lamb to fall to you at 3-4 doesn't always happen. That's great. Cooper Kupp, that's about where he goes, sometimes a little sooner. That's a value on Lockett. You took Sermon where you had to. And I like the Sermon pick because it gives you, if he hits, if Raheem Mostert goes down in week 2, this team's going to be a beast. It's going to be really freaking hard to deal with. Not a fan of Trevor Lawrence and Kirk Cousins as your 2 starting quarterbacks. That's my least favorite part. But they came back with J.D. McKissick like we did. They took a Band-Aid running back just like we did with Naheem Hines. Kenneth Gainwell, upside play that could gain value as the season goes, got a good defense. Boston Scott, a guy that you could use early in the season, more like a J.D. McKissick. He ain't going to be worth anything more than that, I think. But you've got him and Gainwell. MVS, like whatever. You're never going to use him on this team. I would have spent that pick on MVS with all the receivers they had. This isn't best ball. You will never know when to start Marquise Valdez-Scantling. Like, you're just not going to know. It'll be impossible. Because he's one of those guys, Drake. It's 3 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, or it's 1 catch for 15 yards. Like, you don't know. So best ball, he's great. He's going to be, he's a player we liked in the past. So I like that team. Okay. Team 5, Barkley and Gibson.
Like that.
Yeah, that's good. Then you come back with Robinson, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen. I'm okay with that. Like, I don't like all 3 players, at 28, 29 years old plus right there. I personally would have mixed in, instead of Thielen, one of the younger players with a lower injury profile, with a similar floor and possibly a higher ceiling, like DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Judy. I would have mixed them in over Thielen just with that construction. Dak Prescott in the 6th. It's fine. There's not a stack there, though. They didn't get any sort of stack with Dak. Michael Thomas, A.J. Dillon is the third back. That was an auto pick. But, man, if Aaron Jones goes down, A.J. Dillon's really great. I just don't like A.J. Dillon in the 8th because I can get Tony Pollard in the 10th. I can get Alexander Madison in the 12th. I can get Chuba Hubbard in the 13th. Kenyon Drake is a player that you can use. He could also hold more value if Josh Jacobs goes down. Then you get Madison. He got A.J. Dillon and Madison as home run swings, grabbed his handcuff to Barkley and Devonta Booker. But, man, tight end, Hunter Henry and Eric Ebron. That's going to be – and, again, every team typically has a weakness, and that's the weakness for this particular team. Took a swing late on Deshaun Watson when you already have Dak Prescott. Unless you're trying to block other people, I just don't it is round 17, so it's like do whatever you want. But if I draft Dak, I'm not even drafting a backup at that point. Knowing what my roster looks like, I'm going to tag on one more back. They did get Tevin Coleman.
Just being
I'm talking Drake. You what team 6? I don't like team 6. You took 2 dead zone running backs too early, in my opinion, with Chase Edmonds and Mike Davis. They could both work out, and you can have a great team. Patrick Mahomes, I never take in round 3 because I can get Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott. Lamar Jackson went in the 7th round. That was nuts. That's 2. Lamar Jackson going in the 7th is insane. We had T. Higgins gone the pick before us. We would have taken Lamar Jackson in the 6th at our pick. So, like, that's the value that Lamar Jackson had, and you spent, this pick 6, as great as Patrick Mahomes is, that's too much, Drake. Patrick Mahomes is not going to outscore all these other quarterbacks by this much. So don't draft Patrick Mahomes in the 3rd round. Like, let him fall to the 4th. Let him, and the further he falls, the more the other guys often fall. So I'm not a fan. And then going with Tyler Higbee, Jonnu Smith, and Irv Smith. Like, tight ends are important in this league, but you want the top end ones. Grab 2 of those, not 3. I just don't see a stud factor in Jonnu Smith. Maybe I'm wrong. But maybe between Tyler Higbee and Jonnu Smith and Irv Smith, one of them really pops for you. But, man, the weakness on this team, Tyler Boyd, Brandon Cooks, Devontae Parker, Sammy Watkins, Nelson Aguilar, Tyrell Williams. Now, to be fair, Team 6 is planning on starting Chase Edmonds and Mike Davis in the flex. And if that works out, you only need 2 of those receivers. And they've also got an ability to potentially flex a tight end. So there are some options there. It's just when I'm building this kind of roster, I want more upside in some of these other players, like tight ends. If I'm going to have a tight end flex, it isn't typically these 3. It's not typically Tyler Higbee, Jonnu Smith, and Irv Smith. I'm not planning on getting to flex much out of that, except during bye weeks. Team 7, you got Zeke, then you come back with Hopkins. I'm not a huge fan of Chris Carson in the 3rd, but I'm not going to argue with it. He technically on my board is higher than the backs that went after, which are David Montgomery, James Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders. Right now I have him slightly ahead of Swift, who we took in the 4th, but Swift is the harder player to get. But comes back and gets Godwin in the 4th, that's fine. Gets Logan Thomas in the 5th. Comes back with Odell Beckham, decent value on Odell. That's about where he goes now. He's been sliding back down the 6th some. I like all those picks. I don't like taking Tanyan in the 7th. A player that's very likely to probably lose 20% in value this season. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers is not going to have the same year he had. He threw a touchdown on 9% of his dropbacks. He's also probably going to come down in yardage. And Robert Tanyan is probably due for a 30% to 40% cut in his touchdown receptions. And he's not heavily utilized. Now, that could change. Maybe they start using him more. Like, it's always a possibility. But to me, they've added more mouths to feed. And Tanya's not an elite talent. He's a nice player. So I don't like spending that pick on him in the 7th. Like, you could have had Cortland Sutton, a potential difference maker who you left for us. Even if we don't love Shenault, there's obviously a case for upside. You could add Corey Davis with that pick. You could add Devonta Smith with that pick. I would take any one of those picks over Robert Tanyan. And then just deal with getting your other tight end later. He did come back with Deebo Samuel, Justin Herbert. If you guys have listened to me on Herbert, I think he's a reach this year. I think his floor is more down around Kirk Cousins and the other guys in the offense that he's going to operate in. But I do love the player. He's a young player. I'm just not taking him in the 9th round. And again, taking him in the 9th round, leaving guys like Jalen Waddle for us on the board, leaving Sony Michel when you only have 2 backs. Then coming back with McCole Hardman, a guy that the Chiefs are trying to jam in there, but he sucks. He looks terrible. Patrick Mahomes is bitching him out every time they're on the field. He's getting knocked off the field when they're on 12 and 21 personnel. He's only out there in 11, and he's the third or fourth option in the passing game. Anytime you can bet on a piece for Mahomes' offense, anything could happen. I thought one of his better picks from pick 7 was Bryan Edwards. I really like that pick in round 12. Devin Singletary is actually fine in round 11. He looks like he's, for all intents and purposes, at least the starting back on the Bills. I don't know how much that's going to be worth. Took a handcuff shot with Rashad Penny. Latavius Murray, I'm out on. Emmanuel Sanders is a nice pick, probably the number 2 receiver on the Bills until he's hurt. So you could use him earlier in the season. So the nice thing with this team is I don't know that there's necessarily just a big weakness. Once you get past Elliott and Carson, it's kind of dicey at the running back spot. But I mean, you got a decent quarterback. You've got a nice number of receivers. You at least have 2 tight ends. So I think the team is balanced. Out of all the teams we've looked at, it's the one that doesn't have like a huge hole on it. But I'm not crazy about it. I mean, and if you want to, I love our team. A lot of it came down to we took Adams, and it couldn't have gone any better. Like Austin Eckler is a player that sometimes I'm willing to take at pick 8, and he falls back to us in the second round. We kind of got lucky. I mean, but that's what you have to do. You play in enough of these and you get lucky. Pitts, we were aggressive on, but because I'm a firm believer that where the receiver tier goes from there, there's 10 guys that are the same. Once Kyle Pitts and Andrews and Hawkinson are gone, if one of them don't make it back to you, there's a big difference in what you're dealing with at tight end, unless you want to reach for Logan Thomas, which I really don't want to be reaching for. As much as I like Logan Thomas, I don't want to reach for him. I want to take the difference maker. We took Pitts first just in case Andrews or Hawkinson slid back to us. Instead, we got Deandre Swift to fall back because of the news that he may not play week 1, which I'm fine with because I want to bet on a profile of a young back. It's a passing option. That's the profile I want to bet on in the dead zone. And basically, we got almost a round discount on Deandre Swift. And it worked out, man, because then the dead zone running backs went with Chase Edmonds. You had the mess up pick with J.K. Dobbins. Darrell Henderson I like, but I'm not taking him in the 4th round. Then Kareem Hunt was a bit of a forced pick in the 5th round. Then Mike Davis goes, and that pushes all these receivers back to us, and we get DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. Devonta Smith was a round discount. Cortland Sutton was a slight discount. T. Higgins was I see T. Higgins go with the first pick of the 5th. He was, depending on how you like T. Higgins, but he was a round to a round and a half discount. DJ Moore was a half a round to a round discount, and we got all of them. And so I love this team. Come back with Tony Pollard in the 10th, just to swing big for potential RB2, potential RB3 play. You can flex it. Jalen Hurts is a centerpiece for my quarterback strategy. He's going to score 120 fantasy points without throwing a ball yet. So even if he sucks at throwing still, it's okay. And we got him stacked with Devonta Smith. So I really like that. Nyheim Hines was the Band-Aid pick, so that if early in the season, if Deandre Swift doesn't play week 1, we'll just play Nyheim Hines. We'll just run him out there. He may only give us 10 points, but if the rest of the roster does what it's supposed to, that's great. Then we come back with Cole Kmet, which was just a value in the 13th round, a young upside tight end. And with Irv Smith now kind of dinged up, Cole Kmet's the next guy up for me, along with Gerald Everett. Those two are my guys that I'm looking at now. And then we didn't get Chuba Hubbard or Darrington Evans. I wanted one of those to go with Pollard, but the Team 12 took those. So coming back, and this is where I just throw ADP out the window, guys. Like I was worried about roster construction, and I really don't care about ADP. At this point, it's like I just want to build the roster the way it needs to be built. And Tony Jones is going to be the backup, most likely, to Alvin Kamara. If he's not, we'll cut him, but I'm betting on the upside. If Alvin Kamara goes down in week 3, just like if Tony Pollard went down in week 5 and Tony Jones is the guy, like that's a huge pick. And I wanted to own 2 of those type picks. And so we do. We own 2 of them. We technically own 3. We took Qadri Ollison later as well. I don't like him as much, though, as Tony Jones or Tony Pollard as a talent. But he's in an offense with Arthur Smith. It's going to run the ball more. Maybe they'll be more efficient. And Mike Davis is a dead zone running back, candidate. And so anytime I can get the backup to that kind of player, I like it. Paris Campbell, just a player that I've always liked. If you folks have been listening, I've always liked Paris Campbell. You get him in the 15th round. It's going to be tough for him to see the field for us, but with T.Y. Hilton hurt, maybe even gets more work. I thought Paris Campbell could be relevant with T.Y. Hilton. Now with T.Y. Hilton potentially dealing with a neck issue out of the gate, that could be good for Paris Campbell. Don't really got to name all the rest of stuff. We got to talk about Ty Johnson, Drake, if you want to, give your Ty Johnson liner. But we got the Denver Broncos defense, who starts off with a great schedule for the first 3 weeks. Then we'll figure out what we're doing after that. Go ahead. If you want to say anything about the team, and then we'll hit these others real quick.
Sure. And with the Ty Johnson thing, again, it's round 17, folks. We had a guy on our SiriusXM show who covers the Jets and told us Ty Johnson's the leader in the clubhouse. I've seen other guys who follow the Jets echo those sentiments. If it doesn't work out and Tevin Coleman takes over, if Michael Carter takes over, who cares? It's a 17th round pick. Maybe it's a guy they announce week 1. Yes, he is a starter and he can plug in and be our running back too for a few weeks. So no issues there. We'll see what happens. Justice Hill. Some people think he's on the cut line. Some people think now he's going to have a role. Who knows? Kadri Allison, pure handcuff. Let's look around the rest of these teams. Do you want to do the rest of them or just bounce over? I know a lot of folks had questions about Team 12.
I liked Team 12. I thought they did a very nice job, to be honest. I don't like Team 11. I do like that drafter. I've played with them multiple times before. I just, I like the Najee Harris and Darren Waller picks. They're fine. I don't like the James Robinson, Josh Jacob picks. So, and again, we could be completely wrong on those, but I don't like those 2 picks. And then coming back and forcing Myles Gaskin as well, whenever some of these receivers that are falling to you in the 6th round, in the 5th round that came to you and coming back in the 6th, like he let T. Higgins come back to us and he took Myles Gaskin instead. I think that's a mistake.
As his 4th.
Fine. It's your 4th when you already have Robinson and Josh Jacobs as your 2 and 3. I just, I don't think you're going to enjoy flexing those running backs. I don't know how that helps you win the league. Again, we could be wrong. Things happen. Just not where my head's at right now in constructing a team. I do like, he was able to get Brady, at quarterback, but then come back and take Tannehill too. Again, why? I mean, Tom Brady is a stud. You don't need Tannehill. And then coming back with Gio Bernard and Malcolm Brown when you have all those other backs. As soon as he had Gaskin, he should have stopped. He should have said, I'm done with running back. But then he also reached for Ramondre Stevenson. So I just, I don't he should have switched it up. There were a lot of receivers going in those ranges that I think he could have used those picks on. He could have added Terrace Marshall as a wide receiver with upside. Could have added Bryan Edwards as a wide receiver with upside. Heck, Marquise Brown could have bought the injury discount. There's a lot of different ways that you could have gone with some of those picks. I don't see the purpose in Gio Bernard when you already own Najee Harris, James Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Myles Gaskin, and Ramondre Stevenson. And what's the point in Malcolm Brown? He's your handcuff to Myles Gaskin? No, he's in a committee with him. And Salvin Ahmed. I just noticed he owns all of the Dolphins' backfield. Not a fan. Team 10, black shirts. I like Tyreek Hill coming back with Jonathan Taylor. I'm out on David Montgomery in the 3rd. But still, you got 2 backs there, and you come back with Cooper, Ayuk, Jones, get a nice tight end with Wilson. You stack Wilson with Gerald Everett, and then you tack on late Ertz and Hooper. I kind of like that approach. It tied in better than Higbee, Jonnu Smith, and Irv Smith in the middle rounds right now. So I kind of like, what Black Shirts did. The Sony Michel pick was a really good pick. Wasn't a big fan of the Melvin Gordon pick, but I like the Sony Michel pick in round 9. I mean, that was who we were torn with. Jalen Waddle, Sony Michel.
I don't like David Montgomery either, especially with that offensive line, the issues that they're having. I mean, we're only going to get a game, if that, of Andy Dalton, and then it's going to be Justin Fields' time. And I think Fields is just going to be running around a lot. And if he is, I don't see him dumping the ball off to David Montgomery.
What I'll say to him about this team, is at least he didn't come back with more tight ends. I like that. If you leave the Melvin Gordon pick off and take another receiver, I really like this team. But just skip the Melvin Gordon pick for Devonta Smith, for Deebo Samuel. Well, you already had Ayuk, but could have taken, even you could have taken Gallup, Michael Williams, any of those. Like Devonta Smith should have been the slam dunk, like home run pick. So,
and he could have had him over Melvin Gordon. I mean, we don't know. Melvin Gordon, some people say he's the leader in the clubhouse. He's the number one back, and then we see what happened this week.
But he's going to deal with Javonte Williams for the whole year.
And then,
if you're going to own one of those two backs, you just don't. I don't see the point in drafting Melvin Gordon on this construction. Just, if you had one back until then and you're like, man, Melvin Gordon could steady my ship, then I'm going to grab Sony Michel as a player that can play and also provide me the upside and then come back with like an Alexander Madison, But taking the Melvin Gordon pick there, especially with Devonta Smith, like on the board when he shouldn't be, you know what I mean? So you pass the value. And again, these aren't meant to be like hypercritical. These are I'm just talking through my thought process and how I think about these things. And I could be completely wrong on them, but this is the way I think whenever I'm drafting. We already talked about 11. So let's talk about team 12. I really do like Aaron Jones, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, TJ Hawkinson. So the tight end got there, was able to be aggressive with it, then takes Jamar Chase. So you're sitting there with Aaron Jones, Ridley, Woods, Hawkinson, Chase. So you've got your tight end, your one running back, one flex filled, and then takes Javonte Williams as an aggressive play, which I like after what happened in that game of them resting Javonte Williams. And then comes back and gets Raheem Mostert, who played the whole first series, with the 49ers. I mean, I like Trey Sermon, but Raheem Mostert in the 7th round, I think it's a great pick. And then instead of trying to force things, realizes the value that's on the board with Robbie Anderson and takes Robbie Anderson. So you're going to flex receiver on this team out of the gate. You're going to start Raheem Mostert or Javonte Williams, most likely, or Jamal Williams week 1. If DeAndre Swift doesn't play, he can play Jamal Williams week 1. And then he's got another back in James Conner, and then comes back and gets Terrace Marshall, grabs Trey Lance upside at quarterback, then gets Zach Wilson. I mean, I don't know how comfortable I am just riding Zach Wilson, in the promised land, but I like that he came back with some late round dart throws at tight ends after he waited the whole time in a league where tight ends are important. He actually did get a good kicker, still ended up with a good defense on the Chargers. I really like Team 12. I like it a lot. Yeah,
for sure. And like we said, they got to just solidify something at that quarterback position with Zach Wilson. I like the Donald Parham pick too in round 20. We'll see what happens there. But carrying 4 tight ends, that's a lot right now in my mind.
But he'll shed it. That's what you have to remember. It's not best ball. He's going to see, do any of those hit? And if they don't hit, he'll drop them to make other moves. But the thought process is right, because there's some talent in each one of those players, and he had waited after TJ Hawkinson. So he was team 12 was clearly a manager that was thinking about roster construction, in my opinion. The Hubbard and Evans picks, we wanted one of those. We would have loved to have both. So I thought they were both great picks. The Williams and Connor picks were great. He got a little heavy on the running backs and could have tapped a couple, maybe at least one other receiver, maybe instead of going James Conner or Jamal Williams, one of those two, or maybe not taking both. When you already have that many backs, maybe not taking both of the cuff picks and Chuba Hubbard and Darrington Evans, working a receiver in there. But that's really the only thing I can see. I mean, otherwise, I really like, what he did. The other option is maybe just taking 2 of those tight ends at the end instead of 3.
Folks, I hope you enjoyed it. 2.5 hours of Football Guys Players Championship drafts here in the FFPC. Boy, oh boy, that was fun. There's a lot going on here. Appreciate all the folks in the chat room, all you guys who hung out with us tonight. Thank you so much for sticking around. A lot of great content here. Dwayne was on fire tonight. Dwayne, thanks for all you did, man. That was really good stuff.
No, man, had a blast.
Cool. All right, folks. So for this YouTube exclusive, we'll check you next time. Subscribe to that channel. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. Whatever you can do to help us out here, okay, as I punch the microphone in the face. So for Dwayne, I am Drake. We'll see you next time. Remember, folks, to never get out hustled. Thanks for watching.